Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Guys, we're almost at the halfway point. Almost.
Almost.
We're cracking on. Lots happening. But look, as I said, the next game is going to be Epsilon versus Spirit Gaming. There's still a lot to play for here. But before we get into that, we've had our feature team who has been going around and they've been interviewing players and doing what they do. And they've got a feature with Swany. It's an interview with him about how he got into Call of Duty in his career to date. So we're going to show you that first.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say I played copious amounts of Call of Duty as a child, and not just Call of Duty, but video games previously, so they've always been sort of part of my nature, part of my life. Call of Duty specifically, I guess I started to pursue it competitively. I was introduced to it by a friend. We competed in game battles or online tournaments. Of course, nowhere near the scale of the Gfinity Online or anything that's available today, but it was relatively modest in comparison. I think the catalyst was probably winning around $40 in our first online tournament win, and after that, we said, look, guys, you know, we might as well attend LAN events. There are a few LAN events coming up. I think it was around 5 or 6 years ago. We decided to attend an event mainly for the social aspect, just to kind of meet people who you've been interacting with for so long, and then it just went from there, really. I guess I just fell in love with the competition and just the environment of LAN. I want to continue to play until the only reason, I guess, and I've given this a lot of thought, it's actually a relevant topic recently, and I've decided that the only time that I'll stop playing is when I feel that I'm incapable of competing at the highest level and incapable of fulfilling the standards that I set for myself. Until then, I'll continue to play, whether I'm not motivated by anything else other than sort of my own drive. My name is Callum Swan, also known as Swany. I'm 22 from Durham, England, and I play for Epsilon eSports.
So there we go. The thoughts of Swany. And we obviously heard from him a little bit yesterday about what he thought about the team. Now, Epsilon, it's a bit weird for me because, look, I don't know much about Call of Duty. Yeah. I know that's a big shock to you. Yeah, I know. I'm a humble guy. I'm willing to admit my deficiencies. But I do know that Epsilon, of course, is a premier organisation. They've always had great teams. They've always achieved well, even here at Gfinity. So they're right down the bottom of the table. They're just above the relegation zone. Obviously,
Safe.
They are safe, but it's still not good enough, really, for an organisation like Epsilon. So talk me through what's been going on to put them in this particular plight.
They've been awful.
Okay. Good night, folks.
Yeah. Basically, this squad was for me. It feels like a rushed team, right?
Yeah.
There was no setup, there was no base for this squad.
They said they, admittedly, loads of people changing their mind or whether they're going to team with them, going elsewhere, deciding not to do it. So it's fair to say it's probably
so. Yeah, so I mean, it's a rush squad, right? And for me, I feel like Swany came back very dramatically, very quickly from Epsilon NA for his own reasons. Shane obviously was dropped from TCM, and he's been kind of trying to find a home as well. So he's, that was a perfect opportunity for them to come together. Dominate obviously was on a sabbatical, come back, picked up for this because they were in a rush, and obviously they've given Zero a chance. It's just a mismatch of us. So for me, there's no solid foundation other than the duo of Swany and Shane, and that's not enough to build a team on, and it's not going to be good enough to compete at this level. And it hasn't been, and it's been showing in the results they've got. It's a lackluster team that hasn't had any time, really, in my opinion, to really get down to it and kind of put the work in. Although I do know Swany loves to play, COD more than breathing. For him, one of the most famous things he ever said to me was, I go, how long do you like to warm up for? He goes, I play until I'm absolutely sick of the game, but then I feel warmed up. And that's that's his mentality.
Yeah.
That's, he'll turn up to a LAN event 3 hours before he has to play and play for 3 hours before he goes to play his game. So that team will be getting to the grind here, but I know most of these players quite well, and I think they're not going to be happy with their performance, and they're probably treating this as a bedding in to see if some stuff works, and that roster will change after this event, and there will be a figuring out what on earth they need to do, because right now it's just not good enough.
Anything to add to that, Trump?
For me, this team's definitely going under changes after this. I think that there's no doubt about it. As you hit. You pretty much put the points into motion that I was going to say, is that, it's a Swany and Shane. You said to me they're not going to really separate from each other. They wanted to play together. They will stick together throughout this team. We've got Zero, who I possibly doubted, not as being the most spectacular player, just being another one of those players. And yesterday, he had some really good games. It looks like he's playing OBJ a lot more for the team, and he had a good time. There were also games where he looked at really, really distinctly average. But you don't pick up a player like that if you aren't willing to, see it out and try and work on things. So I think Zero's safer there. Dominate, I love Dominate. I don't like saying bad things about people. I don't like to bash anyone because I think of all these guys as friends. They've never said a bad thing about me, but obviously I've got a job to do here. Is that I think that maybe Dominate's going to be getting the axe after this event. I think that he had some shaky games yesterday. I talked to some of the players. They said that he is a great player. Obviously won the very first Advanced Warfare tournament himself, but he's still kind of stuck back in the old meta back when it started. He's not quite progressed forward in how this game's going. And I think that's possibly hindering them. They need an SMG Slayer for me. That is what they're massively missing right now. And Shane isn't going to be able to do that job.
No, I mean, there are points that I agree with you with. I think Dominate looked, superb on the sticks yesterday, actually. And a few of the pro players were like, damn, this guy's come off a sabbatical and come back and he's this good already. So I don't think, unfortunately, you didn't really focus on the most. I felt like you were about to say, Dominate was a bit of an issue, but I don't think he is.
No.
I just think this team is, it's missing an X factor, it's missing a bit of heat. It feels a bit cold.
That's the thing. If you're missing the heat and you're saying everyone's playing well, who are you cutting out?
Exactly.
It's not working.
That's the issue. And obviously that's not for us to decide. I'm sure Swany and Shane will be looking at it very much. And not only that, but I think Swany has, plans to go, back into North American competing. So that's also going to be on his mind. And I think we touched on that yesterday here, that realistically, what are the plans for this squad going forward? Nobody really knows.
You can't look at that team and say that Shane and Swany are happy with anything other than just, sitting mid-table, just getting by. No player of that caliber wants to just get by.
You're absolutely right. They won't be happy with it, but struggling to find a weakness in this squad other than it's just weak. That is the weakness. It's just not good enough. But I haven't seen anything from... Zero's been playing very well. Dominate's been playing very well. Swany and Shane are going to stick together. And I don't think either of them have been playing badly. So, Swany's been dropping some big numbers. And Shane's been doing his job as he always does. So there's no point in going, well, it's him, or it's this, or it's that. It's more the fact that the sum of that part of the parts is just not good enough.
Well, this is one of the problems, isn't it, when you make a team? You've got to get it to, all be working in tandem, working in harmony. Epsilon haven't been able to do that so far. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to bring up all the fixtures because we are into round 7. And as you can tell from what we're talking about, obviously Epsilon is going to be coming up next against Spirit Gaming. We got Infuse versus Vitality. That's probably the most interesting game left of the day. That's the one we're really intrigued about because that's going to have a huge say in the top 4.
To be fair, the HG VWS game could be a good one, depending how that initial fixture goes. And then we've got the show match, basically.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and what a show. It's going to be.
I generally have no idea what's going to happen during that game.
It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath.
I want to see a player play with their feet.
Why not?
Why not, right?
Let's go crazy. But yeah, IGI versus Millennium will be the last game of the day, and it's almost unfortunate that that's the case because Millennium already crowned champions, IGI eSports already relegated. It's one of those things. If it was a Premier League football game, you just all bets are off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But
that'd be the C squad going on to play that game instead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Why risk injuries? Anyway, Epsilon eSports versus Spirit Gaming coming up next. Now we've talked about the malfunctioning Epsilon. Let's talk about Spirit Gaming that are doing actually, a lot better than we expected. They're punching above their weight right now, Brace.
Yeah, awful start. Don't get me wrong. Awful start against IGI, and we put a lot of doubt on them. We've kind of criticised Spirit quite heavily during this tournament, actually. Hyper Games, we didn't think, we thought we'd beat them, and then we looked at Palooka, but then he played a lot better. So if, in my opinion, they can bring the skill and the talent they did in that game against Hyper Games into this Epsilon game, they've got a very good chance of taking it. It's actually going to be whether or not they play to that level. If they play to the level of IGI, where, they drew against them, no. If they play to the game against Hyper Games, have a good chance. Still kind of favour Epsilon in this, just because I think they're a little bit stronger team, just generally skill-wise. But it very much depends. Spirit Game are probably on a high this morning. Yeah, well, just looking at them there, obviously we've got our cameras in the booths. You can see that Spirit Gaming looking very relaxed, all smiles, feeling very good. And, of course, like I said, they have got this outside chance getting in amongst the money. Yeah. By contrast, Epsilon are looking like a team that's almost bizarrely under pressure, even though that they haven't actually got anything to play for. They seem really happy in that booth at the moment this morning. Well, yeah, they're laughing a little bit. So Dinger's got an interesting look going on. The coach is a cool dude. There's no doubt about that. I'm loving that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's mirror shades, living the dream.
For me, Dominate, this is, I don't know what he's doing there, but he's going to be one of the crucial players here because he has had, I think when he left he kind of quit like mid tournament, just done.
It's the kind of thing Bracey would do.
Whoa, hold on a minute there to stop besmirching my good name.
But do you agree with Trouty's assessment then that Dominate's playing for his future in this team?
No, I don't actually, because I don't think Dominate's playing for his future. I don't think I don't think it's a major concern of him, considering Gears of War is coming back out, and
that is his main game.
Yeah, and that's he's a champion of Gears of War.
Well, if he wants to stay in COD, do you think this is a team that would just stick and see it out? I mean, is that an option for them? Are they going to stick it out and
know what? It's one of the things I haven't actually asked Swan about how he feels about this squad, and usually I will speak to him before events about it.
I was talking to some of the players as well yesterday, and this team collectively don't really have any pro points. So Worlds is completely out of the option for them.
And that's actually because of Swan and Shane.
Yeah, so what have they got to play for? There's one tournament that I'm aware of for Advanced Warfare left. Are they going to stick together, which is about a month and a half away? Are they going to stick it out and try and grind for that?
That's a good possibility. I mean, they'll probably experiment a little bit and play just a lot online to keep hot, right?
Yeah.
Some of these players just love playing. But yeah, it's an interesting question you put there. Like, I don't know who's going to do what here. I'm sure that some of the players may be not as motivated to continue forward. Obviously, you mentioned Swany and Shane having no pro points, and that's because they've gone to North America. And if you go to North America and compete, you have to reset your pro points for North American pro points. When you come back, they reset again. So because they've been back and forth more than once, they have nothing. They've actually got quite, they've got a good amount if they had both sides, but it's all gone now. So. Yeah, World's out the question for them. I'm sure they're both gutted because they are very, very good players. Spirit Gaming, again, have a good chance against them. It's actually quite a difficult one to call, depending on actual current form on the day.
Well, caster predictions have just been up there while we've been talking. You can see they're playing it safe, our casters. It's a clean sweep for Epsilon. I saw out the corner of my eye. So I've got to put you guys on the spot. We'll start with you again, Chris. I mean, even though Spirit Gaming look good, they won their must-win game. Ensure they don't get relegated. They're relaxed, they're on a high. Have they got what it takes to be able to overcome an Epsilon Gaming that probably has a bit more caliber?
It was a sloppy game for Spirit Gaming that they managed to win for me. I think there are a couple maps in here. So it's clear they haven't really practiced DLC maps, and I know we've definitely got Parliament Uplink in this one, which is a very AR-dominated map. I think the Epsilon have got better AR players in their team as well. So that's one map already done and dusted for them. I think their best asset is definitely Search and Destroy. I still think Spirit Gaming's Hardpoint looks weak. I've got to go with Epsilon. I'm going to say 4-2. I can't remember what I put on Twitter. Funnily enough, I forgot to check in the break. I'm going to have to say 4-2 Epsilon.
So, Bracey, over to you.
Well, I'm actually looking at the maps here and trying to figure out. So I think originally I was talking about Epsilon, stronger team, and join the rest of the casters in this one. However, looking at the maps for this, I don't know. I mean, Compound, Hardpoint, we saw Spirit Gaming doing really well on. I don't have full confidence in Epsilon this morning either. I'm actually going to go for a tie here. I think it's going to be 3-3. And that's simply because some of these maps won't benefit the guys on Epsilon as much. However, it's very much dependent on form. Spirit Gaming are in good form today. Epsilon, I don't know. So it's a factor, so I'm going to go straight for a tie.
All right. Thanks a lot for your thoughts, guys. A tie there, a little bit controversial from Bracey. Let's see if he's right. But we're now going to go over to the game without any further ado. So it is going to be Epsilon versus Spirit Gaming. And it's going to be brought to you by my favourite casting pairing of this event.
Really?
Yeah, Ton and Ink. This is when the magic happens. They were saying some crazy stuff yesterday. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Take it away, guys.
What do you mean, Trout? What do you mean, really? The duo are both wearing pink. I mean, it's meant to be, if anything. Well,
fresh, mate. Fresh.
Yeah, if you like. You were using words like dough yesterday, so I'll let you go with that
fresh. One. Just honestly, just
welcome back to the Gfinity EU Pro League. It's going to be a good game, this one. I think, the guys are just talking about that. They're not really sure which way it's going to go. I'm going to stick with Trout and say 4-2 Epsilon.
I'm going to say 3-3, so I'm going to agree with Bracey. Not out of choice, because obviously he made it, but I think Spirit game earlier, 4-2 against Hyper Games. Yesterday, Epsilon up against Hyper Games, 4-2 as well. I think they're very closely matched up. If Spirit Gaming can keep up the standard which they were playing at earlier, but depends what Epsilon turns up. But
yeah, that is the question, I suppose. You look at that game on paper and you predict an Epsilon whitewash. But you look at this Epsilon squad and how they've played throughout the Pro League, and maybe not necessarily. You look at how Spirit Gaming are playing today, potentially this could be a very, very good game.
Yeah, well, everyone, well, almost everyone earlier said about Hyper Games being favourites to beat Spirit Gaming. That didn't happen, and they have been relegated. But on the screen, you can see the maps which we are going to be playing. Hardpoint Compound, we've seen it a fair bit this weekend, and it's a map which is really growing on me, to be fair. But then S&D times, S&D map number 2, I haven't seen that very often. And then Parliament, Uplink, and then obviously the 3 maps to finish off. But 2 DLC maps in this set of rotations. So, Ton, predictions for Compound. I think we haven't seen much of Epsilon on this map. I think we saw them once and they lost it.
Yeah, they lost it in the final few seconds, didn't they? So I think Swany's going to go big here. The AR is not a big thing on this map, but if he can get himself in some positions, he can utilize it well. I'm feeling an Epsilon win on this map.
Yeah, well, going to start on board with Tojo. Uses a sub on this map and then switches to a bow on others, but he gets taken out instantaneously. Palooka, 0-0 at this stage, takes out Zero, hidden behind that box on red side. But as I said earlier on when I was casting this game, not really much hill time as such on this hard point, as it is so easy to contest.
Yeah, and it was a good start by Dominate, actually, and Shane's going to go in there and pick up 2 pieces as well. So on board with UFO. Just trying to get some points on the board for the team. Oh, and a slight lead at the moment, but it's really just a formality at this point. But yeah, the lead is in Spirit Gaming's hands.
Yeah, well, Dominate just jumped over that wall there, took out UFO. So UFO did have a little bit of momentum. Sammy providing that AR covering fire from the position that we saw Swany do it yesterday.
Oh,
Palooka, gets absolutely ruined that. But he does actually manage to get a punch kill as well, so very unlucky. I don't even think we caught that on screen, actually getting the 100 points pop up. But back on board with UFO 2 and 3, and we are now headed to P2. So Shane first on the rotation for Epsilon, but there's only 7 seconds in it thus far, so it's not a very high-scoring hardpoint map generally, is it?
No, I mean, we've seen it end pretty close and around the 200s before, so it'll be interesting to see how these teams do end this game. But a lead slowly building for Epsilon now as we go into the second hardpoint, which is a bit of an easier one to lock down than the first one. It tends to be that every single first hardpoint on this game is a bit of a scrappy one. It's just one of them ones trying to get some control, get some kills on the board, maybe a few points here and there. Maybe a slender lead, but nothing too special. But moving into the second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. And you do manage to get a few more points on the board. Epsilon demonstrating that fantastically as they are 40-9 in the lead.
Well, casting this game earlier, or the game earlier from Spirit Gaming, if I'm not mistaken, against Hyper Games, they lost the opening map and then went on to win the next 4, if I'm not mistaken. So great performance from them generally, but currently on board with Shane, 7 and 5, decent start from him. He's going to be pushing a sub, but this is the crucial hill, arguably. That dark corner, infamous dark corner, which I think Rel doesn't like at all when I was watching him cast just yesterday. Shane taken out though, but to say that Epsilon is starting to build a fairly significant lead at this stage. Spirit Gaming look like they're struggling. I mean, if you're looking at the slaying department, it seems fairly even at the moment, but when it comes to hill time, I mean, look at Zero right now. He's not getting any kills, but he's just sat there having a whale of a time, and oh, gets a 2-piece there! Takes out Tojo and Palooka, and those are the moments which really do build and extend the lead.
There's 3 kills in a row for him there, and he does actually get taken out by his teammate, and then Shane says, man, can I have a share of these? But Swany was left on his own inside the hardpoint, and he will eventually go down. A few kills on the board for SG, 78-18. Now is the score, but Shane's going to come in there with a 3-piece, so that's really going to shut things down for them. And this is looking really good for Epsilon.
Yeah, well, back on Zero as he's getting that scrap time, but rotation is going to come into effect, so who's going to be first on it? I don't think anyone's actually on it. No, Shane again. Shane's had a great start to this game. 12 kills to his name, so main Slayer, and he's on the rotation every single time. These early stages, leading the way with caps as well, 5. And obviously, the game isn't won by the amount of caps you've got. It's mainly the defense, so bring up the defense. It's only 3 defense already from Zero, which is obviously more than all of SG combined at this stage. And it is early days yet, so we can't get too excited, but
I mean, I suppose that really shows how the game's going. I mean, Epsilon are getting in there and defending it well. You know, they're getting there first, they're making the kills. When SG are in there, there's hardly any defense coming in, so that's where they're losing the game.
Well, they don't seem to be challenging the hill very often either. I mean, we watched Zero. He must have got about 25 seconds of hill time before winning a gun battle, and even when he did have to win a gun battle, he actually got a 3-piece. So it is these moments which really win a game for sides, and right now, Spirit Gaming trying to reduce the deficit, so I will jump on board with Sammy. Fairly inconsistent in the series earlier today. On a 3 streak, though, 13-11, using an AR as well as we head back to the first hard point.
Well, on board now with Sammy. Just having a link around, he does eventually go down, but let's have a look where Epsilon, and it does seem as if, you know, Epsilon are getting in there, and as I said, Zero was a prime example of that when he was alive inside the Hardpoint for around 20 seconds or so before even being contested. I think that's a real testament to the rest of the Epsilon squad.
Yeah.
Because they can just hold down these areas, even if they're not making the kills, they're pushing out, they're using the right spawns, and it's a bit more of a performance we'd expect from this squad.
Yeah, well, first off, apologies from my end, as I did get the rotation wrong. I thought this was back to the first hardpoint. It's actually the 5th hardpoint. It's just me being a scrub on this new map. But Tojo looks like he's challenging this zebra area. But there we go. I say zebra off courage. Damn Americans. Zebra.
Zebra. Garage.
Tojo. 13 and 17 thus far. Still top of that Spirit Gaming side. They're trying to mount a fight back, but it seems like every time they get any level of momentum, the likes of Zero pop in a 2-piece. Shane just dominates generally, and then...
I mean, saying that, though, I mean, SG got a few points back on that one there at the halfway mark. Around 40 or so, I think. They were well down, so they're still quite a way behind, but they have reduced the deficit, even if just slightly. Yeah,
well, Zero here on a 5 streak. And it looks like he's going to go for a mini flank, if you will, on a... Oh, wow, just destroys Baluka there. Now on a 6. Let's see if he can get his 7th. He's going to check behind him. He's not being challenged from there, though. He was about to be contested by the look of it. Zero is actually playing very aggressively at the moment. Not content with sitting outside the hill. 7th kill there. Ton, can he get the 10-kill streak?
He might be able to. I think it's probably not the best hardpoint to do now. If he can dip and dive around, he might be able to get away with it. There's the 9. He's going to look for the 10th. Let's see how he can make this go on. He's going to be able to pick up the 10th. He just about survives that one, and the rest of his team are cleaning up shop. I'm sure he'll want that kill streak.
But what he's doing right now is he's not even looking down on... Actually, chokes the 10th kill there, but he wasn't looking down any area. He was literally running from one end of the map to the other, just bouncing over walls. He's like, challenge me, I'm feeling confident, and that's been the story of the weekend.
You can tell, you know, half of a player, if you want to be a good player, you have to have good awareness, you have to have good communication, you have to have a good shot. A big thing, especially on this game, is your movement.
Yeah.
And Zero seems to have very, very good movement. He understands the mechanics of the game very well, how everyone moves in and out of different areas and how, you know, the jumping works, etc. And I think it makes a big difference in how to be a good player on this game is your movement.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you. Great insight, Ton. Great insight.
Man, honestly, you've got no idea.
But Dominate currently on the hill. He's on a 2 streak, 24 and 21. Not a bad start from him whatsoever. And this weekend, he has got a little bit of a stick. Obviously, he came in very, very late to this Epsilon side, replacing Reedy, but...
It's hard to really give him too much stick, I suppose, because of the situation that he's in. I've talked about maybe potentially looking the weak link in the team, and I don't think anyone would really disagree with that, but the situation that he's in, he's played quite well, and he's looking pretty good here. You know, the past couple of times I've actually commentated over him, he's played well. Swany picks up 3-piece in the other end of the map. And we'll give Dominate some time here, but a lot of members of SG converging around that hard point. Swany's got some work to do. He goes down. UFO picks up a few kills to his own name, actually. Let's go on board with SG, see what they can do to try and bring this back. There's about a 100-point gap in the minute. And, you know, they are actually pushing out and doing all right here. If they can get somebody to help him out inside the hard point, he might be able to hold it down. He has been in here for a substantial amount of time, actually. You see, in that position, he's the only guy in there. Yeah. And yes, okay, SG can rotate back round at this point, but he shouldn't really be challenging. There's no need for him to. You see what Zero did? Yeah. He sat and lay in the corner, and then he's there to clean up kills if he needs to.
No, I agree.
If you're just shooting aimlessly out the window, it's pointless, because there you go. Now SG got one player left in there. It's going to be Paluka, which goes down to Dominate, and there's going to be more points on the board for Epsilon.
And right now, there's about 90 seconds in this game, with about 2 minutes left, and it's not looking good for Spirit Gaming whatsoever. But we saw this in the game against Hyper Games. They did lose the first hard point, and after that, they just went into absolute beast mode and just seemed to really wake up, to be honest with you. But Dominate picking up a 2-piece there in P4, and as you can see, on a 3-streak overall. Same for Shane. As soon as I say that, Shane gets taken down, but Dominate challenging with a sub. He knew he wasn't going to get away with that. Uses those stun grenades. Should be the first kill there. Is he going to get the second? Oh, just taken out there by Sammy. 225 to 122. Well, I say that. There's actually not enough time now to go into the game. So Epsilon will take map number 1, and it's been an impressive start from them. Yeah,
it has been very impressive. It never really looked anywhere like it was going to be Spirit Games' game at all, and Shane's jumping around the hard point there. Unfortunately, does just get out-jumped a little bit there. Sammy picking up a couple of kills for his team as well. So 31 and 26, not a bad score from him, but it's all very well getting the kills in there. And you know, we were talking about this in the previous game where IGI were playing against VWS. One of the IGI players had 41 kills at the end of the game, but they lost by about 130 points. So it's like, it's all very well talking about kills, etc., but really, it's the important ones that matter.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think many of those 34 that he does have been that important because his team are losing by a heavy deficit.
Yeah, no, once again, I agree. And Sammy's just been taken out there in the final hard point of the game. At the moment, this is just a formality. See if Epsilon can get to that 250-point mark. This hill, very difficult to lock down. It's very, very spacious. You can literally contest it from the weirdest of angles. We saw that yesterday. In fact, I think it was the Vitality Epsilon game where it went down to the very final 20 seconds, and then Vitality just nicked it at the end because PT contested it in a weird little corner and then picked up a cheeky little two-piece. But as you can see, Zero running around with Map just chasing this 40 bomb, 36 kills to his name. But look at his movement right now. You've called it, and it's ridiculous. 37 kills to his name. He's sliding. He's having a whale of a time. And Epsilon reached 250. Final score, 250 to 147.
Yeah, Zero really impressed me there. Very, very strong. And that looked like more of an Epsilon sort of game that you would expect. As Dinge checking out the scoreboard. You're probably able to see it better if you don't have your sunglasses on indoors. That's criminal. That
And the hood. And the hood as well.
and yeah, and the hood as well.
Yeah.
But
Swag life.
well, if that's what you want to call it. Does end in the end. But yeah, Epsilon looking strong once again.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Epsilon is they're either very hot or very cold. That seems to be the story of the Pro League generally, not just this weekend, but throughout the entire league. I mean, they've lost some games which they perhaps shouldn't have. We've spoken about that an awful lot, though. But looking at that final scoreboard, once again, seeing Zero and Swany at the top, but Shane, the amount of hill work he did in that game was insane. I mean, he didn't have many defends, yet one defend to his name, but he was always first on the rotation, it seemed. He was always there offering some support. Even if he was just outside of the hill, he did so much in that game, and Dominate also. 30 kills to his name. I think that was probably the first performance I've seen where they looked like a team of 4.
Something I want to touch on with Shane, actually, when he was previously in a squad with Swany. And I think he was in with Madcat and Co. And this was the team that were on Black Ops 2, where it was really when Jerd sort of burst onto the scene, so to speak. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen much play from Jerd.
Yeah, he's one of the players I have seen because he's a beast.
Guy's a joker. But anyway, Black Ops 2, and there was this team called Impact, and around that time they were the best team in the world, absolutely no doubt. You know, they absolutely murdered everyone in the world championships, etc. And they were famous for being abnormally good at Hardpoint.
Yeah,
I remember the squad went up against them, and they beat them. They 100-point clubbed them, actually. Impact didn't even get 100 points in the game because of that squad. And something we talked about, I've actually spoken to Shane and people like Swany about it before. Shane used to be this guy, and the reason he's got so many captures is he's the guy that really jumps in that hard point first. He's always that first guy. Because even if he dies, that shows where they are. And he is literally quite often used as bait. If you can get a kill, fantastic. Because then that really opens things up. The rest of the team can converge in there. And he's playing that role fantastically well again. Look, yeah, 27 to 30 did go negative, but 8 captures to his name. How many of those kills were entry kills into those hard points? How many of those deaths that he's got were, you know, areas where they are being shown around because they come up on the minimap when they shoot? And man, you see me dropping the insight today.
Yes, I'm genuinely interested. I'm actually...
But yeah, it's the way that a lot of the top teams play it. And, you know, you see a lot of deaths coming in a hard point sometimes. And I feel like one of Bryce's monologues here. This is like...
I completely understand what you say. And one thing I've probably got to touch upon is, obviously, Shane doing that, he has to have unbelievable communication. If he's going to essentially bait himself, he's got to literally spot everything whilst he's pushing a hill. And that is really not easy. You're doing, essentially, 5 things at once. But he's starting to do it really, really well again. It's like almost like he's getting back to his old self with his top form. And we spoke about this briefly yesterday. And, obviously, I didn't watch Shane in the olden days, so to speak. I'm still fairly new to the scene, so I don't know how good he was exactly. I've only heard amazing things, but from what I've seen of him online when I've casted him, it looked like he was starting to struggle. He was trying to change up his role ever so slightly, or so I was told by Trout, who was casting with me at the time, and now he just looks like he's coming into his own. He's getting comfortable in this squad.
Yeah, and I think it's going to boil down to this squad playing more together as well.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to stick it out, you know, there's one more event really, and on AW planned at the moment over here anyway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what the EU scene does up until that point. Is everyone going to just sort of get a squad, get it ready for Black Ops 3, or is everyone going to think about Black Ops 3 after this game? But this Black Ops 3 is not out for a couple of months now, and that is a long time in Call of Duty.
Yeah, and the thing is obviously when you're trying to put a squad together, it's really difficult to put a squad together in with Black Ops 3 in mind, because the whole movement system is completely different again. So at the moment, it seems like Call of Duty, we're bouncing from one system to another system, and it does take a little bit of a transitional time. And these squads, you can only think so far ahead. You're just kind of hoping that your teammates perform well. But obviously, with Worlds coming up and things like that, I think Epsilon are planning on going. I mean, you think
they
so,
don't. They don't have the pro points available.
Oh, so
they
won't be
because
going.
it was what the guys were talking about there before. Is that because obviously Shane and Swany went over to America.
Yeah,
their pro points over here get reset. Because they go over to America because they need to go over there. Then they've come back, so the pro points in America are reset, the pro points here are reset, and they're basically no.
Yeah, well,
so it's going to
that'd be a real shame, though, to be fair. But well, that means there is only one of us. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying properly now. So, going away, one event left of Advanced Warfare, preparing for Black Ops 3. It really cannot be simple on that front. I mean, I've never been in this game transition period, so to speak. I came in the middle of A-Dub, and that was.
It's one of them things where a lot of players do have better games.
Yeah,
they're better at.
Jetpackers.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a term went around that people are ghosters.
Ghosters, yeah.
People who are good at ghosts and not good at anything else. And there are people like that in a way. But like, I mean, even myself when I used to play, I was terrible at Black Ops 1, but I did alright on Modern Warfare 2, etc. And it just comes down to what game suits your style of play, etc. And it does change up in between games. I feel as if. Black Ops 3, if we're going to touch on that, I think we're allowed to. We're having a bit of a technical issue, so we are going to just talk a little bit more rubbish for a while. But talk about Black Ops 3, I think we can. From playing the beta, I don't know if you've played much of it.
Yeah, I did. I grinded.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Grinded.
Nothing better to do.
Pub stomper. Pub stomper for life, mate.
I feel as if it's much more. Well, it is a much more slow game.
Yeah.
I think. It's going to be a bit more AR dominant, especially with the way that some of the guns are at the minute. The M8 is a joke. I'd imagine that this is what
patched apparently.
Yeah, well, that's what the beta is for, and it is to see
it needs
which.
To be patched, to be fair.
But at the same time, I think it's going to be a more AR oriented game. At the end of the day, it's not as quick, not as fast, but it feels a bit more like actual Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think it's going to add a whole new element to competitive as well, particularly with the specialists.
That's another thing.
One of the things I'd say about the specialists is I'm not sure how it's all going to be done. Obviously, I don't have any intel because I'm a nobody, but I think there isn't a little bit of a risk of having things like glitch in competitive.
Well,
I mean,
I suppose
it will be amazing to watch, but if you're a player and someone is planting bomb, for example, I think Courage was talking about it yesterday. Someone's planting bomb, and then you start shooting them back, and then they glitch and they appear behind you and shoot you. For me, that's not only a controller breaking moment, a TV breaking moment, a console breaking moment. That is I'm killing myself.
A very, very bloody entertaining moment.
Yeah.
YouTube it. Oh man, honestly, if that happened, imagine somebody planted the bomb, someone's going to shoot in the back, glitch, boom, hits him in the back. That'd be insane. I mean, look,
it'd be amazing to watch, but if you're sat there playing, you're like.
But at the same time, it brings more elements at the game where you have to think about, you think to yourself, right, what specialist is this guy running?
Yeah.
Okay, shooting in the back, be ready for it in case he does do it. But I mean, it's all hearsay at the moment. It's all sort of ifs and maybes and buts, etc. But I mean, I've got a good feeling about it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I do believe we're going to Recovery S&D next. There are a few more issues. It seems like every time we cast, there's something holding us up. But with Recovery,
it's our fault probably. I mean, I managed to knock the Xbox off just before we actually came on.
But anyway, Recovery S&D. Predictions, because obviously Spirit Gaming earlier impressed with their S&D, beating Hyper Games, a team which is more known for their S&D play, or the French scene is more known for their S&D preference, shall I say.
Preference is probably the best way.
Yeah, that is probably. But Spanish Gaming, Spirit Gaming were pretty convincing over Hyper Games, to say the least.
Well,
so do you think they're going to take a lot of momentum against Epsilon?
The thing is, with typically, is with Spanish teams, is that they are very, very, very aggressive on S&D.
Yeah.
They will literally just run at you. So I mean, it's the Epsilon boys will know that, and it's going to be a case of, are they going to bluff? Are they going to be the typical, Spanish sides that just sprint at you, and Epsilon will be like, right, sit back, ARs. We just have probably one of the best ARs in the game on our team.
Yeah, Swany field day.
He literally will have a field day if they do that. But the Spanish could say, right, okay, we're not going to convey to the normal,
Yeah.
what we do. We're going to change it up. So it could go one way or another, I think. But I think Epsilon will walk away with it.
Okay, then, so your prediction is Epsilon, and I think everyone's spawned in on the wrong team, so I think it's probably going to get reset unless people can spawn in on time and switch teams. But we can see the beautiful map itself. Recovery was out of the rotation for a brief period. Back in, though. Thankfully, big fan of this map. The game is going to be ended, so I'm sorry this hype is going to be short-lived for now. But one thing I want to touch upon briefly again is the fact that this is, if I'm not mistaken, 5th up against 6th. Spirit Gaming currently 5th in the table, and Epsilon currently 6th. If Epsilon win this series, they will leapfrog Spirit Gaming, but if Spirit Gaming somehow win this series, they would go right up the table, and they can actually push for a top 4 spot. And it sounds like, well, hang on a minute. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. They were one of the favorites to get relegated. But the way the Pro League is working at the moment, big teams taking points off of one another, and VWS upsetting everything yesterday with defeating Infused, it really could go so many ways at the moment. Obviously, we know who's been relegated. We know who's won the league. But every single other place, there is almost like 10 possibilities, 20 possible. I don't even know. Ridiculous amount of possibilities.
There is a lot of possibilities. A lot of different teams can finish in a lot of different positions. So it will be interesting to see how that goes on throughout the rest of the day. But I do believe we are ready to get back into this game now. It is going to be recovery, search, and destroy. Yeah, I'm going to go. We went predictions. You were saying 3-3. I've said 4-2. I'm going to stick with my 4-2. Would you? I'm going to give you the one chance to actually say what the score is going to be. Sorry, I'm blubbering.
No, don't worry.
Because
I think it's just someone spawning the wrong team again, so I understand why you're blubbering. Don't worry. I think there's a couple more issues. I'm not sure what's going on. I think we just bring bad luck. When we're put together, just the whole game just goes, do you know what, we can't handle it. The casting's too good. We're just going to have to end the game, come out of the booth and just watch, because they just want to appreciate us that much. And that ego right there just should get me sacked. So, it was a clear joke, by the way, if you didn't know that. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. We are going to try and find out what exactly is going on. I think there's going to be a slight issue with the scoreboard as well in game. We're just going to try and get some more information on that as well. And it seems like this is just going to cause even more delay. And there's probably people in production upstairs going, by the time we leave here tonight, it's going to be like 2 o'clock in the morning. We are getting no sleep.
Oh, well, I mean, I got a lion this morning. Did you know?
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah, it's smart. It's,
Do you know what? In rehearsals, I had to solo cast.
Did you?
Yeah. Me playing against bots, and I got wrecked.
It's not my problem.
It's on mixed as well. So I've got some recruit bot just wrecking me with XMGs. It was a sad moment for me, but it's the Xbox controller. That's my excuse.
The Xbox controller.
I put on a sweaty class and everything. ASM1, double stuns, you name it. And yeah, it didn't really work out for me. We're going to try and reboot this again here, and hopefully third time is a charm. It looks like players are just spawning in on the wrong team. So a little bit, I don't know if it's rookie errors or players arguing over what side they want to go, but I think everyone's on the right team now. Spirit Gaming Atlas, there we go. Everyone's happy. So you're saying Epsilon are going to take this map.
Yes.
I want to be optimistic. I'm going to say Spirit Gaming, if they're going to take a map, I don't think they're going to be able to take many respawns. They might be able to nick one, but I think S&D is their best possible opportunity. But we're going to jump in the game. Who are we going to start on board with?
Well, we're going to go with the attacking team, Shane, with the bomb as well. So it'll be interesting to see which way it goes. And guys, obviously we don't have the scoreboard at the top of the screen there. We have had a slight graphic issue, but it is indeed 1-0 to Epsilon.
Yeah, 2 down from Spirit Gaming already. So Zero picking up a kill. Swany also the same thing. Palooka, though, takes it down from a 3v2 to a 2v2. Zero's just been, I'm not sure what Zero was doing there. He's just been spotted from behind. Tojo going big, and Swany left in a 1v2.
Well, he's going to be able to pick up one at least. There you go. So 1v1. Smart decision from Swany.
Tojo coming around the dome area as well. So Swany wisely planting it. Blue door side. And it's like he knows where he is, and he's just spotted him as well. But Swany is going to try and use a movement. He's pushing towards him.
Swany isn't going to be able to make this kill. Big gunfight going to go down. Swany eventually does make it, and very, very well played by him.
So it's now obviously 1-0 in favor of Epsilon. And you can see some of the players there giving some reactions. Pretty happy. Swany getting a 1v2.
Well, moving in the game. We just had a little discussion around... I always thought it was Tahoe.
Yesterday, I was going through the tweets that people were sending at Gfinity, and the amount of people that tweeted abuse at Gfinity for Brycey calling him Toya or
No,
Toho.
it's Toho. We've asked him.
Well, I was told it was Tojo. Everyone's saying,
Who
oh, it's
told you that?
Tojo.
Anyway.
If not, I've been telling Courage the wrong thing, so... oh, well, on with the day. I'm sticking with Tojo. I'm English.
Oh, okay.
It's a J.
Well, Tojo has managed to pick up 2 kills there and level things up for Spirit Gaming. I think it's Toho.
I don't think I think it's Tojo. I think it is. Or it's
I'm
just,
English, it's a
just
J.
me being overly English. Like, no, it's a J, it's a je. I think that's English anyway. I'm trying to defend
how do you say
myself.
jalapenos?
Jalapenos?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't say jalapenos, do you?
No, I say jalapenos.
For God's sake.
Anyway,
Oh,
so
God,
send us a tweet. Send one of us a tweet saying, how do you pronounce this fella's name?
I'm pretty sure it's Toho.
Toho or Tojo? I think it's Tojo.
I'm
but-
sure we've asked him, and I'm sure he'll know how to pronounce his name.
Have you actually asked him? And he
I'm
said,
sure he's been asked, and
Are
I'm
you
sure
su-
it's Toho.
Are you sure you didn't ask him how do you not pronounce your name?
Well, no, why would I ask him that?
I don't know, maybe you got lost in translation.
Right, anyway, it's a 2 versus 4 in favor of Spirit Gaming. And at the moment in time, they're playing the S&D very, very well. Dominant's going to pick up a kill. He's going to pick up a second. Lots of bullets going to go in there. Toho does go down.
Tojo. Anyway, Dominate did pick up his first kill of the game in round 3. He's currently on a breadstick. Shane's been taken out, though. He's currently 0-3 Palooka. And now Dominate's left in a 1v3. Is that pronounced wrong as well? Palooka? Is it actually
Well, no,
Palooka? I don't know.
For God's sake.
Is it
Now you're
Sammy
being
or is it Sammy?
Well, come on. We're not going to call him Sammy, are we?
Sammy.
This is inconvenient rather
Who was,
than
who was
right.
it yesterday saying it was the Super 6 and call it 6 or something like that? Was it Courage?
Well, how do you say your name if we're going to go into this thing? Ink.
Unk. I hunk, mate.
He's far from. Dominate picks up another kill.
Oh, he's just jumped over his head. Oh.
He's managed to get away. But he's in a sticky situation yet. He does have a hold of the bomb, though.
Ooh. Okay, well, no one's actually going to PK. Oh, no, they're coming through mid-round. This is going to get messy here. Palooka well, absolutely destroys him there on that bomb site. But Spirit Gaming there, winning back-to-back rounds after a slightly sloppy start, allowing Swany to get that clutch play in round 1. But Spirit Gaming, as I said, this is their best opportunity to take a map off of Epsilon, get some momentum going. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a Spirit Gaming choice of map. And it looks like they're thinking the exact same thing as me.
Yeah, they're playing quite well here, and looking good for their 2 wins. The 2 rounds have been quite convincing. There have been some good plays. Can they continue it on, though?
The Palooka here, he's going to snatch that bomb. Whack on overclock, whack on the trophy system. Very, very aggressive play towards this A site. And as you can see, Sammy has been first blooded here by Shane. Shane gets his first kill of the game, but it's now 3v4, and Palooka's in a bit of an awkward position because if he gets the bomb down, whilst his team is a man down, he puts his whole side at risk of losing the round.
At the same time, though, I think, they really do need to think about it. If they can do that, then it really does draw the defensive team out. I don't think they're going to be able to outslay Epsilon and the S&D. So, if you can't get it down, it'll be beneficial on board with Toho.
One of us has just got tweets just giving us complete abuse for not being able to pronounce it.
Well, I've got no signal in here anyway, so it's probably best. But Toho goes in there, picks up one, not going to quite pick up the second. Swany does shut him down, so UFO, you're not going to try and correct me on that one, is the last guy alive in a 1 versus 3. A bit of a sticky situation here. Not going to get away, surely. Yes, he does, but if he can manage to pick up 3 kills in 23 seconds, I'll eat my invisible hat. But 2-2 is the score.
That was well played by Epsilon there. Obviously, Zero spotted him at the back of Blue Door and then just called it out and said, look, he's over here. And none of them rushed in. None of them pushed in. They set up tactically. Obviously, one player, I think it was Swany, went over towards top caution or towards top jungle. And then obviously Dominate led on top B site. Completely just trapped him in, to be honest with you. So great play from them.
There was absolutely no way he was going to win that one, really. I mean, he was in a bad situation. No time left. And it would have been something special if he managed to pull that one off. But with Shane, he's been getting a couple of, I say a couple of first bloods. He must only get 1, and he does go down again. Palooka and UFO putting up kills there for SG.
It's a very aggressive strat from UFO. We've seen that twice in a row. I mean, every round it seems like he's pushing that A site and actually trying to go for a race, saying, right, I'll meet you there, and he's winning every single time at the moment. I mean, he's getting a pick, but he keeps getting traded out, but he's doing enough for his side at the moment. He just needs a little bit more support, in my view. But Zero now left in a 1v3.
You see, now this is a sharp contrast from how the last 1v3 was going to go for the SG member, because he has a lot more time. Doesn't have a hold of the bomb though. And they don't know where he is. Oh, that shot's going to go in, and Toa's going to win that gun battle again. So 3-2 now to Spirit Gaming.
I can tell by the reaction of Spirit Gaming, like they know how important this map is.
It is. I mean, when it comes to running gun game modes, I fully expect Epsilon to win each one of them.
Yeah.
So these need the S&D, and then they need to bank on trying to get an uplink or a hardpoint off the squad. But yeah, I'm still thinking it's going to be 4-2. I think it's not a bad shout to say SG will win both the S&D games, but at the same time, I still have Epsilon predicted to win this S&D map. And let's go on board with the attacking team.
So UFO snatching the bomb. Oh, his play being spotted. Oh, great gun battle, though. Great pick, I should say, from Dominate. It looks like he's going to plant it in a way where it can be spotted. Zero firing those nades, but trophy system coming into effect. Swany challenging, sorry. And Shane challenging a Tojo. It's now a 2v2. Sammy picks up the kill. Shane. Zero has been spotted all the way at the back of the map there. Playing very, very passively this round, but he doesn't need to push in. He's on defense. And this is what I like about recovery. I don't feel it favors attacking or defending sometimes, or the majority of the times, I should say. If you can stop that A rush coming in, this is such a balanced map.
Well, there you go. Bomb is planted. Pretty even situation, but if you're the defending team of that bomb site, it's definitely you with the advantage. Just need to stay alive.
Well, as you can see, Sammy is top jungle. Swany's about to challenge him, though. I think Sammy actually heard him there. Oh, wow. Swany wasn't going to win that gun battle. AR versus sub from that distance. It's only one winner, so now Zero. Time to clutch up. He's only got a sniper, though.
He's having a look around. I think he's just about spotted somebody there. Oh. PDW is not going to do much work there. 4-2 now to the Spanish side.
You know, every time they win a round, and I said this in the previous game as well, they looked so pumped. They really do look pumped, and you see that, you don't see that enough, I don't think, in the booth. I think most people kind of underestimate the importance of winning back-to-back rounds, and they're like, yeah, you know, that's a great round, blah, 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 and they'll talk to each other, but they don't get that pumped compared to Spirit Gaming, and I think that's a really, really positive attribute that they've brought this weekend, but...
Yeah, it's always good to have good chemistry in the booth with your teammates, you know, keep everything positive, and there's no point in going into games negative. I mean, when I used to play, have negative teammates was one of my biggest gripes, to say the least. That, you know, we used to have this one guy and just like conceding defeat before we'd even played the game, and a couple of kills are going to go in there. I mean, he was teaming with me, so it's probably a fair assumption. But on Zero, he just spots two, not going to happen for him though. 2 versus 3 in favor of SG, so they're looking good for the win here on the S&D. On board with Palooka, not going to land those shots onto Swany. You're probably going to be punished for it. Shane does pick up the kill on a U4, but Sammy cleans up onto Shane. And Swany is the last man alive.
Well, that 2-man flank from Palooka and Sammy, they're the players that are still alive. And that was a very, very bold play. But it's worked so well. Swany wins the first gun battle, though. He's left now in a 1v1. Palooka, I thought he was just going to get a couple shots off on Swany, as he is very, very weak at this stage. He's just regen, though. Palooka playing it relatively passively because he thinks he can spot the rotation towards B. So he knows that Swany's probably going towards A. Palooka's going to try and peek it. He's running towards it. Has Swany got time to back away here? He is. He's going to run away. Palooka chasing him here. He's got a sub. Swany should win this from this distance.
Oh, Swany's got him tagged. He's looking for the kill. Now in a much better situation. Nearly fallen off the map there, actually, Swany. Needs to be careful now. He's not going to get challenged close range, and Palooka comes all the way around and takes Swany out. You know, I would have thought Swany probably would have won that now. When he's getting a couple of bullets in, I would have expected him just to move away a little bit further from the bomb site. Not necessarily chase the kill, but there you go. Round's going to go to SG.
I suppose when you get a player that weak, you want to chase him and just kill him and get it over and done with. But Palooka with that sub just too quick, and it just put him in a position where, up close and personal, there's only probably going to be one winner unless there's a monster play or perhaps a melee kill. But with that in mind, Palooka currently 7-2, and it was just that individual play there, or I say individual team play from Palooka and Sammy going on full flank, and just took out Zero. And after that, it just kind of all went downhill for Epsilon. Swany did well to get himself in a position where he could have won the round, but 5-2. Spirit Gaming 1 round away from picking up their first map of the series.
Well, they're in a pretty good position, actually. They've caused some problems around a B. Shane is going to pick up the first kill, though. Wow. That's going to cause problems. Palooka really needs to get out of there quickly, and he does so. He is probably going to get chased down, and they really do need to get a better look at that bomb site. Oh, gunfight's going to come out. Palooka, is he going to get away with it? No, quite. Zero does take him down. Another kill going to come in there onto U4. Tohoa is going to get the kill onto Swany, but he's a 1 versus 3. You need 2 more kills to go. He's going to pick up the 3. Not quite get the last one. And Shane, I would have lost my mind if he'd actually managed to pick that one up. But there you go, Shane, picking up that final kill. And that would have been nice to see for the win. But a little bit unfortunate. They'll take a lot of solace from that, I think. You know, fortunate to lose it in the end. But very well played by Tor.
We've seen a couple 1v4 fails this weekend. That was one of the closest we've seen, although the bomb was down in Spirit Gaming's favor. It wouldn't have been the most dominant 1v4s or one of the more conventional 1v4s, but a 1v4 nonetheless. But I'm going to jump aboard with Shane here.
Look how aggressive. Look how aggressive SG. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look how high they're pushed up.
Oh, Shane's going to actually retreat, and I don't blame him whatsoever. He's going to try and bait the Spanish team into running through underground. And look at this positioning from Shane. He's anticipating the run here, but it looks like it's not going to come. If you look at the top right of your screen, all players bunched up so tightly. As soon as one kill goes down, they're all going to go down live view. 0 first blooded there, 4 and 8. Tojo traded up, and then Dominate picks up the next kill, but that's traded up there by Sammy. And that's what I'm saying. It's a domino effect, but Swany getting the bomb down.
As the bomb does go down, planted, and there is somebody from Epsilon covering him. He's just about going to get away. Is he going to go for the turn as well? Put some shots in, but surviving is the main thing there. There's somebody coming around the back of them as well. That's going to be Sammy. And I think they know where Swany is.
No one on the diffuser.
No, Palooka gets taken down. He knows somebody's in and around. Where is this Swany going to be able to get away with this one? He's going to come around. He's back. That should be the round. Is Swany going to be able to get the turn? Not quite. Sammy takes him out. That's going to be the game going over to Spirit Gaming. So 1-1 between these two teams.
Yeah, thank you. My prediction, probably the first time I've got something right this weekend, to be honest with you. So yeah, looks like Spirit Gaming actually won the S&D there. And we're going to bring up the maps for you shortly. But as I said, I think that was probably one of the best chances of winning a map up against Epsilon, because I think Epsilon are really starting to, you know, gel as a 4. Obviously, this isn't a set team of 4. I think Dominate is just a pickup for this event. But it seems like the longer they play together, the better they're getting. And that's to be expected, to be fair. But final score there, Sammy dropping 10 kills, double digits. Unfortunately, on Epsilon, it was just Dominate and Zero just need to get a couple more kills there. But sometimes it goes for you, sometimes against you. It happens. So, all locked up at 1 apiece. Are you surprised by Spirit Gaming's victory there after you predicted Epsilon?
Not so much. I think, you know, Epsilon are a good S&D team. I just thought they may get the better of the SG squad. But SG played that very, very well. We know that they've got it in their arsenal to have a good S&D game. And it definitely did. There you go. There's going to be 1-1 between these two teams. Parliament Uplink. This should be... Excuse me, interesting. I think, as Trout said, very AR-dominated map, so I'd imagine Epsilon will walk away with it, but, I mean, I predicted Epsilon every single map so far. If we can just have a quick look at the scoreboard there, guys, and we'll see how this one went out, and there you go, we've got it up for you there. Bring it in. Swany, 7 and 7. He was left in a lot of situations where he was 1 versus... X, so you know it was hard for him, I feel, but Sammy had the best game out of the guys on SG, 10 and 6 to Hull, nearly coming up with that fantastic clutch. Not quite coming off for him, but now third map coming in. This, I mean, what's your predictions for this one? I mean, I'm going to go with Epsilon again. I don't know about you.
Now, this obviously is a very AR-dominated map, as Trout said.
Yeah.
I call this the 8-man AR map because it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just such a long-distance map, especially on the reset as well. The distance between spawns as well is insane. It's not a very high-scoring map either, so I think it's probably going to come down to maybe 3 points, if that. I think the most we'll see is maybe 4 dunks, well, probably about 8 points throughout the whole game. I may be wrong, but judging by everything I've seen of Parliament. But looking at the squad's AR capability-wise, Dominate, great with an AR. Swany, great with an AR. Shane can use an AR, and Zero, speaking to him earlier in the player lounge, said, I love playing Parliament Uplink because I get to use an AR, and in this side, I'm a very strict sub player, so honestly, this gives me a chance to play with it.
Speaking as an SMG player throughout Call of Duty and throughout every team I've ever been in, I used to love maps where they'd let me use an AR.
Yeah, well, that's exactly that. So Zero's the only player which is, he's more sub-oriented in my view, but he's excited to use AR. I think he's been practicing with it a little bit as well, but that's just everything I've heard. And then you compare that to Spirit Gaming's AR capabilities. Tojo can use an AR, and then obviously Palooka can use an AR, but I don't think he's as good with it. UFO can definitely use an AR. Same for Sammy as well. So a couple question marks around Palooka. So I think the key battle here is probably going to be Palooka up against Zero. Which sub player plays better with an AR, or who knows? We may even see someone break the norm and pick up a couple sub kills as well. But Parliament Uplink headed to London. And I think we're just going to be on board a burning ship. So it's a little bit of a depressing map in that aspect. But are you looking forward to cast this map? Have you had many opportunities to cast it before?
This is my first opportunity to cast it. I've played a few games on it, so this could be interesting.
Yeah, well, and you see
I might not know what's happening.
Let's go. Well, obviously, I'll try and walk you through it. So reset is going to be on the far left of the map. And as I said, it's just going to be AR City. As soon as I say that, though, Shane uses a sub, Swany using an AR, Dominate using an AR, and Zero using an AR. Then compare that to Spirit Gaming, Sammy AR, Palooka AR, UFO AR, and then Tojo also using an AR. So 4 ARs versus 3 ARs and a sub. And it just all depends on how many kills Shane can pick up from distance whilst using a sub, because I think he is at a slight disadvantage.
Yeah, it's such a big map, and you know, I think really the movement on this game really takes it into its own. Lots of different levels, so long, but the ARs are going to be the dominant force in this one. Let's see what Swany can do with it. Currently is down, and SG probably getting the better of Epsilon just at the start there with a few kills. And it is really about trying to get some control out. And obviously with the spawns being so far away, getting a couple of kills here and there doesn't really help. You really just need to shut the enemy team completely down if you want a chance to score with the uplink. But on board now, Taho has a hold of it. He's going to look for a point. He's got a lot of cover. That should go in to me. And there you go, 3 points on the board now for SG after getting a dunk early on.
I think we actually missed the dunk.
I completely missed it.
We were both talking, and I think we both missed it there. So that was a great start there from Spirit Gaming. They hit that after about 20 seconds, actually. They started that rapidly. Oh, and that was an unlucky miss there from UFO. But 3-0 to Spirit Gaming. This is a very surprising start from the Spanish outfit. You'd expect Epsilon to be a little bit more comfortable on this map, but with that being said, UFO, he's having none of it.
It could just be practice at the end of the day. If SG have played this map a lot, then, you know, it's not been off for very long, so sometimes there will be opportunities for other teams to have better goes at it. You know, Black Ops 3 beta was out last week. A couple of people didn't bother, but on board with Shane.
Switch to an AR, by the way.
Yeah, switch to an AR. Probably the best decision to make. And SG have made those picks around that area, but they have no one left there.
Yeah, well, Sammy currently 6-3, being a great start for him on a personal level. Dominate, though, on the head glitch on Flowerbed. Just absolutely destroys him, but Zero's now going to pick up that drone. He's currently 2-3, not being a great start for him. However, he's going to go for that 1-pointer. I don't think he's actually going to be close enough. Now goes for 1-pointer. Great decision, but Sammy intercepts. Unbelievable, but has the drone gone out, or has it just dropped back in? 3 down for Spirit Gaming, so perhaps Shane or Dominate? No, it has been reset in the end, so unlucky there from Zero.
Yeah, Zero looked really good for the point there, but it was a very, very good interception as well. A few kills going to go down for SG as well, so Swany has some defensive work to do here. Looking down the lanes, and this is where he really excels, but there you go, SG are going to pop around the back and cause all sorts of problems. Shane does actually get taken down. Is he going to be able to walk this one in? Wow. Yes, he is. 5-0 now, and Nelly picks up the kill there. Dominate does wipe him out with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. It's 5-0 now to SG in the first half.
Well, Spirit Gaming at the moment, they're covering each other so very well. I mean, look at this feed right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Sammy picking up a 2-piece set, completely covering UFO whilst he goes for the dunk. It's now 7-0 after 3 minutes. I said this wasn't going to be a high-scoring game. And well, these players are ignoring me.
Saying that, you know, it does seem as if this is the easier side to get things through, because there's a lot more cover closer towards the uplink, so it makes things a lot easier. So it'll be interesting to see how Epsilon do on the other side, but they've never really had any control at all, really. I mean, we can say it is to do with better positioning on each side of the map, but Spirit Gaming have played it very well nonetheless.
But saying that, I mean, both of these sides want to finish as high up the table as physically possible, and if Spirit Gaming win this, they put themselves in a great position to actually get at least a point from this series, which a lot of people would say, oh, hang on a minute, that's not what we expected, but obviously I said this was going to be 3-3 on the basis that if they win the S&Ds, just need 1 respawn. Is this going to be the respawn that Spirit Gaming can take? Still plenty of time left for Epsilon to come back in this, but after being 7-0 down, you have to say all the momentum was with Spirit Gaming at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really looking at the better team. They're outslaying minus UFO. And yeah, they could get away with doing this. It just seems as if actually, not really outslaying at all. It's relatively even. So, with these teams, you know, they've had their opportunities, and it just seems SG are making the kills around the drone site a little bit better, moving in when they need to, making the good kills when they need to. Palooka's just put a good kill against Shane there. Swany has some defensive work to do, and suddenly SG are on the front foot again. And it just seems as if, you know, every time Epsilon do respawn, they're getting stuck in their spawn just a little bit. Palooka, great shots on the Zero and Swany there.
Well, I said at the start of this game, this was going to be a direct battle. An important battle would be going down between Zero and Palooka. More strict sub-players switching to the ALs just for this map, as it is an 8-man AR map. And as you can see, Palooka tearing it up right now. 16-9 compared to Zero, 8-12. Obviously, there's more reasons than that why this game is being so heavily, being dominated essentially by the Spirit Gaming side. But right now, Epsilon, they probably just want to get that half over and done with and said, right, let us have a go at this because we do not like that side at all. But it's going to finish 7-0 after round 1. And Tan, do you think Epsilon can get back into this? Obviously, you said that that is the better side. So do you think Epsilon can do the same as what Spirit Gaming's just done and just set up, you know, basically fast pushes? Because that's what they were doing and just covering each other whilst making those runs.
I mean, potentially, you know, they've obviously got the caliber of players to do it, but SG just looks so much more comfortable on this map. It seems that they know when to push the right areas, and Epsilon just didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, we'll see what they do here. I mean, looking a little bit dejected, but they've got, you know, 5 more minutes of this map. Let's see what they can do to get back into this. If we can expand the map in the top left corner, let's see who can get the stronghold of this area. You know, it's really about getting set up here, get those first couple of kills, and you really can't advance forward. But both teams trading. Palooka does answer back, but Palooka gets taken down. So trade's going to go on here. Swany going to have to make this kill. Very, very quick reactions from the young Northland lad.
Well, he was 1v3 in and around that reset, picked up all 3 kills as well, and that's the type of plays which Epsilon need to get back into this game, but he was taken out there, but Shane does trade it up on Tojor, but Zero now on a 2 streak, starting to get back into this game. 13-13 now, trying to lock in a little bit of a spawn trap, 1-man spawn trap. Oh, just taken out there by Tojor, but going to jump on board with UFO. He's currently 9-18, and it is going to, there's a potential that it can bite his team in the behind, so to speak, because if you've essentially just got 3 players just slaying and then 1 player just lagging behind a little bit, it can cost them.
You say that they're 7-0 up.
Yeah, very true.
Well, Nelly making it 9. They're actually getting very close to that area, but obviously it's a lot harder to score there. But they're just continuing where they left off, really. They had the control, they moved in, and they showed that sides don't really make a difference so much on this map. And that's a good kill by Zero. Just get taken down by Sammy. Probably should have made that one, but really, it's never looked convincing from Epsilon at all. I'm going to go on a whim and say that they've never really played this map.
Yeah, well, as you can see, Shane currently 16-17. He's going to pick up that drone. He's going to go for that pass towards Swany, is he? No, he's going to go for it himself. Met with 3 players, though, from Spirit Gaming right in front of him. Palooka intercepts. Palooka having a great game thus far, both slaying-wise and arguably, although he hasn't got any points, the covering kills he's got in the Epsilon base in the first half were just unbelievable. Also getting a hit marker with those stun grenades. Shane has been spotted and tagged up as well to the right-hand side. As you can see, Epsilon running out of time if they want to take map number 3.
They just haven't looked like scoring at all. I mean, they came close once.
Yeah.
Palooka steps it up, but I mean, at this point, Zero's going in for that there, but there's nobody there to cover him at all. There's nobody to pick up with him. I think Shane probably should have went with him. They need to go for dunks. There's 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, and they're 3 dunks and 1 point away from even drawing it up. So I think they need to start getting aggressive.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, I'm currently on board with Shane here. 18-18 on this head glitch. I think it's a very powerful position on this map, to be honest with you. Gives great reset control. Tojor just hiding behind this box area. Sammy's been taken out by Swany, but is he going to get taken from behind? Oh, yeah, Shane gets shot in the back there. Traded up, though, by Swany. Palooka's going to be picking up the drone, but Palooka, you just can't stop a player when he's in this vein of form. And right now, it looks like he's so comfortable on Parliament Uplink and so comfortable with that AR as well. But 4 down for Spirit Gaming. This is Epsilon's best chance to not only get the dunk, but also set up the relay. They're going to get the first points on the board of this map. 7-2, 5 points in it, with just over 2 minutes remaining. Well,
they can potentially really pin them in here, but SG have done so well. Push themselves out, and suddenly Swany is the last man alive. Just momentarily, however. But SG are pushing out. You see, they've got that one guy that is really pushing in. I think that might have been Sammy. Wow. And he's just caused so many problems now to Hoel push on, and it'll be UFO to pick up the drone. Are they going to be able to score this one in? I'd probably just go for the 1 at this moment in time. That doesn't look very good at all. I mean, he completely mistimed that, but a couple more kills going to come in, and it might actually go in their favor because they're just getting a few kills down, and there goes the dunk. 9-2 now.
Palooka on that reset. And right now it looks like he really is doing a little bit of everything. Intercepting.
Falling off the map.
Alright, he's now really doing everything, including suiciding off the map.
That was the caster's curse, that really, wasn't it?
Sorry about that, Palooka. Well, actually, it's not my fault. You just jumped off the map. Anyway. Tojor, 22-22. Just taking out a kill there on Zero. As you can see, Zero made a little bit of a fight back in the second half, 22 and 22. And the slaying power from both sides is fairly consistent, although Spirit Gaming just edging it at the moment. Dominate 20 and 27 is probably the player. Just needs to step up a bit. Shane also only on 20 kills. But with that being said, Tojo is currently on the drone here. 3 down for Epsilon. And if they get one more point, this is surely going to be map done and dusted.
Yeah, so going to put that one in, and it is really looking good now for Spirit Gaming. They're going to take a 2-1 lead going into the second half of the maps in the Super 6 series. Super 6 series.
Super 6 series. Sounds awesome.
Lots of S's. If I had a list, that would be absolutely horrendous.
Super thick theories.
Super thick theories.
Anyway, we're not bullying here. Shane taken out there by Sammy, and it has is straight up on Zero, but Sammy hits back again. And I'm not sure how he hit back there because Sammy actually got the kill after Zero killed him. But anyway, just going to trust the advanced warfare feed there. Palooka's going to pick up that drone. Just going to waste some time, though. He doesn't need to push too high. He's going to go for a 1-pointer. Shouldn't hit there, is it?
No,
just misses. 11-2 the final score on Parliament. And that, to be honest with you, is a little bit of a surprising result.
For me, yes, definitely. You know, I expected Epsilon to come out there with their ARs and just dominate and be a bit more superior to them, essentially. And it just never happened. They didn't really look like they knew what they were doing on that map, if I'm honest. And SG just looked a lot more well-oiled, if you like, on that map.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it just seemed like the versatility from Spirit Gaming really did shine through. I mean, Sammy was doing a little bit of everything. Obviously, we spoke about Palooka covering everything, including suing off the map as well. UFO picking up some massive covering kills alongside Tojo, Tahor, whatever you want to call him. But also the versatility with regards to the uplinks as well. 2 for Sammy, 5 for Tojo, and 4 for UFO as well. You compare that down to Epsilon. Shane, the only player to hit that dunk.
Hi, Richard Lewis.
Hello, Richard Lewis. What are you doing? Oh, there he is. As well. Anyway, so his final score there was 11-2. And headed into map number 4, it looks like all the momentum has shifted to the Spanish team's favor. And with that in mind, if they win this next map, they guarantee themselves at least a point, which means, if my math is right, Epsilon cannot finish above Spirit Gaming.
Wow. Well, that would be very unfortunate for Epsilon because they would be expecting to do that. But at this moment in time, you're right. It definitely has shifted into their favor, and they've looked a much better team over the past 2 maps.
Yep.
S&D, it was a little bit close, but I mean, it was always looked like SG were going to walk away with it. But that uplink just looked very, very strong from SG. It'd be interesting if they can take that game into Detroit. But I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that it's a brand new map. And that might be the issue that Epsilon will have.
Well, last night, obviously, casting Epsilon up against Vitality, so the 2 big sides from Season 1 finished 5-1 in the end, but the final map there was actually Detroit Uplink, and it was fairly dominant from Epsilon. The relay set up on school side, particularly from Swany. I think he went on a 7 streak towards the end. Absolute machine. But it just all depends on if they can set up that relay and who utilizes school side more. But with that in mind, we are going to go to a very brief intermission. Don't go anywhere.
Wait, you're not on it? I'm on it. 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 Where are you at?
choice it would be, but
he doesn't pull it. Gets it.
There's one.
Oh,
Oh no, he's
close.
He gets the second one. Play the MVP with the 2 snipes. All smiles, high fives coming from Attach. The birthday boy able to pick it up.
Wow, and look at that, the accuracy there. And I mean, you know, in those close quarters.
They didn't really have full control. They were defending the flank over and over again. And another thing with doing it, eventually you will get overwhelmed in that position. The other team will be able to eventually break it, get like maybe get a 2-piece of touch. Oh my goodness! There's the 4-2. Can he pick it up? He gets it.
Oh my
The entire team at TCM taken out in a matter of seconds. Attach, man, he is young. He is still developing as a player, but God, he is disgusting.
Yeah, well, the thing is Epsilon did play it once early on in the season, and I can't remember the final result of that. I think it was actually against Millennium, which they lost. Millennium did their homework on that map well and truly. You'll see that later on as well. The 1-point spots, they pull it out. They're running through the back of crates. I can't describe it because I don't know the call-outs properly to that map. I'm a scrub. I do apologize, but I think there are some similarities between Parliament and Detroit with regards to.
Just say he's on boat, and you've covered all your bases.
He's over there on the boat.
He's on the boat
map somewhere. But obviously, there are similarities between Parliament and Detroit with regards to the AR dominance. I mean, if you just get a player controlling reset, just like on Parliament, arguably we saw Swany trying to do it, but unfortunately just kept losing a couple gun battles, and Palooka going big. Same with Tojo as well, or Torre, whatever his name is. He's the Spanish person.
Which one?
Well, I'm still covering all my angles. Honestly, this is such great casting. We're destined for great things. But
yeah.
Detroit, as I said, it is a little bit more AR dominated as well. But obviously, it's not going to be an 8-power affair. No. Thankfully, I think the problem with Parliament is a very, very slow-paced map. This one a little bit quicker. And as I said before the break, you know, Swany and Epsilon playing last night against Vitality looked very, very good on this map. It's just about whether or not they can replicate it.
Yeah, I think they probably will be able to. I feel as if, yes, this is an AR-orientated map, if you like, but the SMGs come into it in school, and I just think it's going to boil down to who's the better uplink team, full stop. Yeah. Who really is a bit more better. Well, saying that, I suppose SG have got a bit more practice together than this Epsilon team probably will do, so it could be a close one, but I'm going to go with Epsilon again. I went for Epsilon every single map. I mean, I'm playing it pretty safe, if anything, but I just think that this map is more, you know, over the whole year, everyone's played this one. And I think it's the last Uplink when taking nothing away from SG was a lot to do with the fact that it seems like they're just a lot better practiced on it.
No, I'm going to agree with you. I think Epsilon, obviously beating Vitality last night, despite being 5-0 down as well, it does show how good they were at that particular map mode combination. They only just lost out on some other maps as well, but obviously you can go back and watch the VODs. But sticking to this series, going to bring up the maps left to play. So first map was Hardpoint on Compound. Epsilon dominated it, to be fair. Since then, back-to-back maps for Spirit Gaming. Obviously up next, Uplink Detroit, and we're going to finish things off with Biolab, Hardpoint, and Solar S&D. But this map is an Epsilon choice here, so we'll see how that plays into effect. We're saying they're the favorites for this map, but if Spirit Gaming play like they did in the last map, anything is possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said, I didn't want to take anything away from Spirit Game. In that last game, they were very, very strong. Palooka was winning a lot of good battles, basically. They were just locking down the right areas, doing it all fantastically well, but I do feel as if Epsilon are going to be a lot more well-rounded on this map than they were on the previous. We'll soon find out. Going to go on board with Shane straight from the off, and this is all about school control. Let's see who can get a hold of it first, and well, obviously, it is going to be in the hands of SG. They really do need to get in that area themselves more than Epsilon do, but Epsilon need to prevent that from happening from SG. And the classic tactic just happened there. You know, you see that? SG got a hold of the drone, not the bull, in the middle of the map, threw it all the way towards the base. And just to see if somebody from Epsilon could clean up, and they could do, but SG couldn't get a point on the board. Tahor does pick up 2-piece though. Epsilon picks up the dunk.
That was a great play there from Epsilon. Originally, I was thinking, why don't you just go for the wraparound? Go through elbow. It's a little bit quicker for you. But wise decision, pushing through mid-street. A lot of faith in their ARs to win those long-distance gun battles. And that's why Epsilon are leading after 45 seconds of play. Sammy currently got the drone in garage, using those stun grenades. but it looks like he's actually going to try and play the delay here, and that could cost his side. 2 down for Spirit Gaming here. Zero currently in garage, pushing through this toolbox area. And as you can see, he's going to dodge past one player, dodge past the next, and just get the 1 point to there.
Very well done. Sent that quite high there. I thought he was just going to miss that, but it meant that the SG player couldn't really intercept. And Tahoe's in a good position here. No cover, no support whatsoever. And does reset the drone. Good shots, though. Teammate does clean that one up. Zero cleans up on Tahoe, though. And every single time you see Epsilon spawn, they send somebody straight into school. Very advisable. Zero does go down. SG have got control of that school. If they can get control of the drone, then they may be able to do something with it. Not going to happen. Shane does pick up a 2-piece around that area. And look at where Swany is. Just causing all sorts of problems for the team. Shane's going to have to wait until Swany pushes in. He didn't do that. And a lot of SG players pick up every single kill. And this could be a bit of a wrap round here. I think UFO is going to run into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah,
there is
a predominant spawn on the left-hand side of this map in and around green, and actually Epsilon did get it. So, oh, what a punch there from UFO. Sliding just absolutely pummeled Shane to the ground there. But Sammy 3 and 7, not a great start from him. Saying that 1 up for SG. Oh, now 2 up. Obviously, Respawn coming in. Dominate actually picking up the drone as well from mid-Atlas. He's going to be pushing through garage, is he? No, double backing amongst himself. But no, he's going to launch out for 15. Probably the wisest decision there. Yeah,
probably the best thing to do in that situation. He didn't have no cover. A couple of his teammates did go down. Just resetting the drone. On board with Zero. Let's see if it makes something happen here. Every single time he spawns, straight into school. You lose the gunfight, though, so this is an opportunity for SG. Can Tahoe make the second kill? Locker's not going to happen. Dominate does take him down now. UFO has nothing to do. Wouldn't be surprised if they reset.
Well, Tojo would have
actually... He's on his own here. I don't really understand this play.
If Tojo would have won that gun, I would have understood this play because obviously there would have been some level of school control, but essentially you're just going to give up drone control there. If you've got 2 players from Epsilon in lockers and no one's challenged them, or they're still alive and you know they're there because of the call-outs, it seems a little bit weird having that play. But saying that, I'm going to jump aboard with Tojo here. It's 10 and 5. Great start from him, but he's going to get taken out from distance all day long there. AR versus sub. No chance.
Never gonna happen. Zero every single time runs towards that score. 6 and 8 from him. 3 captures to his name. 2 picks up his second kill as well. So that's gonna offer some map control to Epsilon. Someone in garage, and yeah, they are gonna push through this way. Zero comes around the back, picks up 1. Is he gonna look for the second to his left-hand side? Yes, he is. He's gonna get shot on the Palooka. That's fantastic work by Zero. Really just punched through the defensive SG here. Shane, pass comes in, and there is the dunk from Epsilon. Wow. Shane turns it around. That's the exact right thing. You don't. Teams, if they know they've got to hold that drone, it's just the turnaround where you got to go so quickly. There goes the pass over towards his teammates, and there should be another one on the board. That's going to be 7 now. Oh, what is going on here? The interception nearly came in there. He nearly got away with it, actually. He does get away with it. SG now 7-0 down. Epsilon looking good.
But look at Dominate straight over in pit, trying to block off that conventional route. But no, big gun battle there from Shane to actually take out Tajor, and it means the drone is going to be reset by Zero, who's got all 7 points to his name at the moment. Also 12 kills as well. It's been a very impressive start from him. Tajor, they're going to pick up that drone straight through school, and it looks like he is going to be met with some opposition. Is he? No. Goes for the one, just about to hit. Hits it. 6 points in it, but Spirit Gaming supposedly on the better side.
Yeah.
6 points down here.
Yeah, and Epsilon are really showing how strong they are on this map, and yeah, I think it pays testament to how good of a team they are, how well they've done on this one. And again, I didn't want to take anything away from SG. They play very, very well on Parliament, but I just think they probably play that map more than Epsilon have. And it really, really did show. But back to a map where both teams are on a level playing field, so to speak, in terms of play time, and Epsilon really showing their strength here. 7-1 on the bad side. It looks like maybe it'll pick up another one if the cover's going to be there, and it is. Dominate's going to get the melee kill. UFO does take down Swany, and don't know if it's going to matter. Dominate did actually pick up a kill there. Shane goes down, but Tahoe gets a nice 2-piece. Dominate, can he do anything with it? Looks good for a 1. The interception is very, very good there from the SG player. 7-1 is going to be the score going into halftime.
That was a really, really impressive interception there. It was actually jumping in midair and actually dashed back towards his own portal and just caught it. Absolute perfection there. We're going to see what implications that has for later on in the game. Who knows? This game may even go down to the final 1 point towards the end. I don't see that happening, though, as Epsilon moving to the supposed stronger side. And as I said, last night up against Vitality, they really did utilize score. And you find that the team which does that tends to win Detroit more often than not. But I'm going to start on board with Shane here, currently on 9 kills. At the moment, it seems he's being very selfless. He's just picking up that drone from the reset and just launching it to his teammates, or in particular Zero, so Zero can take the glory, so to speak.
He's playing a very good objective role in this team, is Zero. At the moment, though. They are behind in maps, but they are winning this map. Swany picks up 2. They're going to get control of the school as well. So Palooka is going to shut that down just momentarily. But here comes the drone. Zero's in a good position to do something. He has backup from his team. It should be an easy one for him. Oh, he's managed to hit the rail there. Sammy should be able to pull this one away. Here comes the wraparound. The pass is going to come in, and that's pretty much plain sailing for Palooka. He should be able to make at least a 1 there. Oh my god, Zero jumping in midair and saving that one for his team. Not going to get the defensive kill. That does go down, but the drone is reset.
Judging by this, I mean, we keep saying Zero's name and things like that, and it seems like we're very orientated towards the young player, but he's just been playing so well, not only today, but also yesterday on this map as well. I keep bringing it up, but Zero got a last-ditch 2-piece, literally with 5 seconds ago, launched the drone down the middle of the map, and somehow Epsilon managed to get a 1-pointer, which eventually won the game, if memory serves, but Dominic's just been picked off in this pit area. But Yufa under pressure here. Is he going to win this game out? Shane?
No.
Oh, no, Shane! Shane's been taken up by Sammy, but he should have had that kill there, but Zero saves his teammates some embarrassment there and picks up a 3-piece. Wow. Seems like every time we say something nice about him, he just wants to do something better.
Yeah, and he really is showing he is the business here. And a lot of people were questioning his contribution in this team. He hadn't necessarily played fantastically well online. This weekend, he has really, really impressed me. I'd expect, I don't expect him to be in a team of this caliber next year. I think he'll probably make a little bit of a drop down, but he's not doing himself any harm at the moment. He's playing very, very well. It'll be interesting to see how he does on the next season, whether that be on AW or Black Ops 3.
Wow, he's just been taken out there in the middle of the map. Swany was on a 4 streak, was about to jump on with him as well. But no, it's just over 2.5 minutes remaining here. It has been, it's quietened down ever so slightly in this half. It's only been 2 points after 2.5 minutes. 1 point, obviously, going in favor of Spirit Gaming, and 1 point in favor of Epsilon. But UFO's go around the corner here, should get a dunk. Oh, the stun! Just manages to get that. He's actually still alive, almost gets the kill as well. And I think Dominic may have got some stick if he was taken out by UFO in that position. But 5 points in it. Spirit Gaming starting to mount a fight back here.
Well, Dominic did pick up a 2-piece in the middle of the map, and the control seems to be in Epsilon's favour, but both teams really clashing in the middle of the map here. Neither really seems to be able to get a foothold in this second half. Epsilon obviously very, very strong in the first half, going in with a 7-0 lead, but other than that, it's been a pretty quiet second half. 3 minutes gone. UFO on the drone now, and it's not out of the realms of possibility for SG to catch up here.
No, well, obviously, just under 2 minutes left, 5 points in it. They are on the worst side, so I'd say they're just going to have to utilize their 1-pointers as best as possible. But, well, Zero just punches him in the face there, and there's now 3 down for Spirit Gaming. Zero's going to go on the aggression through this school window area. It looks like he's got some support from behind as well. He's just going to glide past that first player. Almost goes for that 1-pointer there, taken out just before he could release the drone there. 4 down for Epsilon. What can Spirit Gaming do?
Well, the thing is, they've got that 4 down in their own base, though, so it is going to allow Epsilon to get the respawns coming in, and they are just going to wait for every single member of SG to come in and wipe every single one out. Todd did pick up a 2-piece on his way there. Drone gets reset. Zero picking up another one there. 3 kills in a row for him, and he picks up so many important kills as well. I find that every single time he's making these kills are in important areas. He's picking up 2 pieces in important areas as well, and it's very, very good so far from Zero.
I completely agree with Tajur. At the moment, he's on 32 kills. He's absolutely carrying the Spirit Gaming squad. You compare that down to Palooka. He's got half of that, and Sammy actually, well, he's just managed to get half of those 32 kills. So at the moment, Epsilon just completely outslaying the Spirit Gaming side. But there's still 5 points in it. I think there isn't enough time left, to be honest with you. So I think the map count will go to 2-2, which means headed into the final 2 maps. It's a really good finish either way. We could still see a victory from either side or a draw. And right now, these 2 teams, dependent on the map, they just look fairly even.
Yeah, and going after that first half, I was expecting really a big push from Epsilon just to finish this one off. But it's remaining contention versus G all the way through. It's going to be a little too late at the end. Yeah, they're not going to be able to get another one there as well. So Sammy puts in that final point. It wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have had time even if he had dunked it to get another one. And that is going to be in the map to Epsilon. So we are tied up here, 2-2.
Yeah, and I'd say the Spirit Gaming could be very impressed with it, or very proud of the performance, I should say, because coming into this, they are the underdogs, without a shadow of a doubt. They've been underdogs the entire entire day. Most people had Hyper Games down to beat them earlier. Spirit Gaming fairly convincing, taking both S&Ds and also 2 respawns off of, you know, what was a French powerhouse, finishing 3rd last year, finishing above Infused as well. And that was a good roster from Infused as well in Season 1. But, you know, right now, Spirit Gaming, do you think they're overperforming, or do you think Epsilon are slightly underperforming and kind of the story of the league?
I would say Epsilon underperforming more than SG really overperforming. I think SG are sort of playing to their level. Playing well. We always know they can be a good team. It's been a story of inconsistency, if you like. Sometimes, I mean, the Spanish teams have been around for, I would say, probably 4 or 5 years now within the main scene. And they've always been one of these, well, they've always typically been teams who will get a surprise result but then lose games where they should have won. So, you know, it is a tale of inconsistency.
No, I agree with you as well. But, you know, looking at this score on your screen or what was just up, I mean, Zero dropping 35 kills, Swany 30 kills as well. There is a little bit of a recurring theme between these two players. Yes. And honestly, I think that if Zero's giving a little bit more time alongside Shane and Swany, he could turn into a bit of a beast of a player. But he played very, very well. And not just against the smaller sides, in inverted commas, also played well against Vitality last night as well. So dominate just to pick up, then get a decent 4th for the final event, Advanced Warfare. I'd say that we could be looking at Epsilon returning to being a powerhouse. But with that in mind, as you can see on your screen, Epsilon winning the first map, Compound Hardpoint, losing the next 2, winning the previous map. But now we move to Biolab Hardpoint. Hardpoint as a map number 5. I love this map as well. It's probably my favorite Hardpoint map, not only to play, but also to cast. So high expectations here. But, Tun, who do you want to start on board with?
I think go with SG. Go with Tahor, because he's been really the impressive one from SG. And we got confirmation at the break that we had there that it doesn't really matter what we call him anymore. I know. It's Tahor or he doesn't mind Tajor. Tajor is right as well, apparently, in the Spanish language. Either way, so I mean,
it's nice that we're both right.
I mean, we often are.
Yeah, well, it makes a change. But speaking of Tajor, whilst we're in the first Hardpoint, not much is going on. Last season, played for Gamers 2, who were relegated in a one and done, actually, against Millennium. He then left Gamers 2, picked up by Spirit Gaming, who were promoted after a very impressive championship. And right now, he looks like he's not out of place at all. He looks a very, very good Spanish player. But 16-4 currently in on this circle Hardpoint. John Boy Zero is currently flawless. 3-0. He's got some work to do, though, with this sub. Close and personal. Oh, is he going to get this kill? He does. Oh, my God. He's so weak right now. Does pick up that kill on Palooka, but is taken out from behind by Tajor.
That was nice by Zero, but if you're Palooka, you have to pick up that kill there. There's absolutely no doubt. That sort of area as well could have really helped this team get a few more points on the board, because they're a significant deficit already straight off the first point. It's going to be around 30, so not a great start by SG. Let's see what Shane can do from this position, just waiting and lying down there, not really getting away with it. UFO comes in there with a couple of kills to his name. Sammy's going to clean up as well, so hopefully there's some points on the board for SG here. Kills going down left, right, and center, and this is a very fast and frightening map.
Well, Tajor here is 1-4, but he is doing a lot of objective work in these early stages in the second hill of Biolab. Look at that feed at the moment. It's all Spirit Gaming, and that is starting to reflect in the score. Slight comeback after a disappointing first hill in circle, but Palooka is getting this hill time right now. It's under fire from behind. Manages to escape with his life just about. Zero's in the hill. Zero versus Palooka. Oh, no, actually, no. Palooka's just completely outnumbered, so this does not look good for him, and he is taken out. But headed into the blue hard point. Which team's going to set up first?
Well, it does seem as if it is actually going to be Tahor, the first one there. The rest of his team are on the way, but he's going to catch Epsilon by surprise. Tahor in a great spot, picks up the 2. That's so good from him. Gets himself over there early, puts himself in a position where he has to make a hero play, and he does it. But he's got himself set up, and this hard point, if you can get set up on it, everyone knows how beneficial that can be. It just caused so many problems, gets so many points on the board as they do take a lead.
Yeah, he's in a dirty corner as well, and I think Epsilon weren't expecting him to be there. But he is currently on a 4 streak, firing towards his backdoor area. 2 players from Epsilon jumping in, gets the first kill in the window, puts bullets into Dominate. Zero's going to challenge as well, just in front of him. Tajor picks up the first kill, doesn't pick up the second kill as it's stolen from him by UFO. On a 6th streak though, single-handedly defending this hill pretty much. And what points, picks up a 7th kill as well through the window. You know, you were not lying when you said that he's playing pretty well at the moment.
Well, at this moment in time, he is actually the last one alive. He can defend this from every single member of Epsilon. I'd be surprised when he does eventually go down, but that was around 45 points in a row without contestion for SG, so that's put them well into the lead after the first hard point. They were 30 down. They are now around 30 up after a couple of minutes of play.
Yeah, scrap time going in favor of Epsilon. UFO actually waiting in the back door there, so not going for that early rotation and trying to challenge 1 second of the hill. Wasn't too sure about that, but maybe was playing for spawns. But with that in mind, Palooka currently in and around this green plat area. They know where Epsilon is spawning. They're going to put bullets into Shane here, actually push into this orange area, or red gen as some people like to call it, but Dominate picks up Palooka there, and Epsilon right now, after that disappointing blue hardpoint, they've gone from being in a comfortable lead to actually chasing the game.
Yeah, and you know, we always talk about the double-edged sword that is being behind on hardpoint. You know, you have to get all those final scrap points and make sure you move over to the next one at the same time. But when you're behind, you need to make sure you're getting the scrap points because every point can actually count. That'll come more into fruition when we get closer towards the end of the game. On board with Swany, Shane picks up a two-piece, and this is one of those ones if you can get an AR posted up and causing some problems, even just putting bullets down, that's necessarily kills. You can't really benefit from that, but Zero is in there. He did manage to pick up a two-piece. They're going to leave that because this hard point is absolute carnage usually. If you can get it locked down, then it causes so many problems. And, you know, Epsilon are without the best player. I mean, who would you think is the best player for this general hard point? And I always see him go off in this. He's not in the UC at the moment.
Who's the best player around it in
Europe?
Europe?
This hard point, exactly, is Jerd. Zero, I just seen him trying to sort of replicate what Jerd does in this hard point. Literally bounces up and down in the corners. Yeah. Corner to corner, bounce up and down. But SG are doing everything right at the moment at the same time. They are holding down. They've got a hold of purple. They're covering all their exits. Grenades aren't coming in. They're not causing any problems for SG. I went a bit of a tangent there, but I was just trying to explain to you how Zero is playing this. When he gets inside there, keep an eye on him.
No, I completely agree with you. We all jump on board with him now as he is going to try and get some scrap time in favor of Epsilon. It looks like SG are actually on the early rotations. Zero did have a kill stolen from there as he did stick one of the Spirit Gaming players. But as you can see, he's just going to get scrap time here. He's just noted a snow spawn here. And as you can see, he's just going to put bullets in. Has actually abandoned that kill. No, he's going to turn back around and get that kill eventually. But as you can see, Spirit Gaming is still on that hill, so Zero's kills at the moment aren't benefiting his side too much.
No, and there's a pretty bad deficit to get back to now. That, you know, Spirit have had a very good last 3 hard points. And let's see if they can continue that. Obviously, Epsilon had a very, very good start where they took a 30-point lead. You know, they got it in their bag where they can actually cause problems again for SG, and Zero did so well to stay alive there, but Palooka does take him down. The rest of Epsilon, where are you? You need to hurry up and get in there and help out the team. But Shea picks up a very, very nice two-piece there. Picks up the third as well. He's going to be able to pick up the fourth, and I think just about his team should be able to get that one. Tahor is going to clean up, but Dominate comes in there with a two-piece of his own.
I've noticed Zero's play as well is, particularly in that hard point, even if he doesn't get the kill, him bouncing around distracts players away from noticing teammates backing up. So Shane, it enabled him to go in there, get a three-piece, because all 3 of them essentially were just focused on Zero bouncing around everywhere, going, guys, let's kill him. He's in the ace. It's really difficult to kill someone like that. They're just such a nuisance, and it enables teammates to just get free kills, essentially. But with that in mind, there is still a deficit for Epsilon to make up. A Spirit Gaming were first on the rotations to this second hard point at bottom Eskies. And right now, Spirit Gaming aren't doing enough, and if they win this hard point, then, if I'm not mistaken,
guarantees them a point.
Well, there we go, and it means Epsilon cannot finish above Spirit Gaming, despite, regardless of any results. This is both teams' final game of Season 2 of the EU Pro League. So it's an important way to, you got to finish with some momentum.
Yeah, exactly, but at the same time, with this map, there's so many hard points that you, I mean, especially the one over at blue, and the last hard point in Biolab. It is such a one that you can lock down for so long that, you know, Epsilon are not out of this by any shadow of doubt.
Now, Swany going to get that scrap time here, currently on a 4 streak, so I will jump on board with Tojo. As last time he was in this hill, we all know what happened. Went on an 8 streak, just absolutely ripped Epsilon apart, defending the hill pretty much single-handedly. As you can see, Pre-Fire coming in, and Spirit Gaming, they looked so comfortable on this blue hardpoint. They look pretty untouchable, to be honest with you, but as soon as I say that, Epsilon break the hill, so Cax's curse, I do apologize. But UFO is still alive at the moment, and Epsilon starting to claw back the deficit.
Yeah, well, if Epsilon can hold this for the next 40 seconds, they will definitely catch up. It's a question of if. The rest of his team are pushing in there, but SG go in to get a very nice pinch by them. Can Epsilon defend. No, they cannot. There you go. And it's going to be SG breaking in once again. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And something big needs to happen from Epsilon now. They cannot allow SG to get these 20 points here. The next point, pretty scrappy. It'll all boil down to the last point. And it is a case of Epsilon needing some points here in the final 10 seconds.
Yeah, well, Zero once again on the hill. He seemed glued to every single hill that we've gone to. But as you can see, deficit is in and around 30 seconds. And right now, it really does look like Epsilon's starting to run out of time. Bearing in mind the final hard point, very difficult to get any substantial time on. So this is Epsilon's best chance of getting back into this game. They need it so there's around 10 seconds in it, maybe 20 seconds, otherwise they're in some trouble.
I disagree. I think the last hard point, if you can get that locked down and get set up well, then it's one of the places you can get a lot of points, and we've seen SG do that. This one is pretty scrappy itself, but SG get 4 men down. That's going to cause a lot of problems for Epsilon. I can't see them coming back into this one now. With around 50-point deficit, with a minute and 20 to go, it's going to be very, very hard. But Epsilon can do it if they manage to get all the kills. Not going to happen when Sammy's going to pick up a 2-piece, though. This could be guaranteeing a point here for Team Spirit Gaming. Palooka trying to get a kill there, but SG do get taken out. But UFO's going to come in there with 3. Is he going to be able to 4th as well? Not quite, but that is going to surely be the game. Looking at it now, it now is impossible. SG will at least take a point here. And look at Sammy on 38 kills. We're going to go to the last hardpoint rotation, but you have to look towards the Epsilon squad. Shane not dropping many kills and quite a lot of deaths as well. That's going to be disappointing for him. But overall, I mean, that's really... Palooka's not had a great game either, so it's slate-wise being relatively even. But at the same time, you know, SG just proven that they are actually a very good team.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Shane there. Shane has just been so good this series overall.
Yeah, he's had a very good series.
Yeah, you'd think BioLab would suit his style of play with that sub, but looks like he did struggle ever so slightly. But I suppose everyone does have those games from time to time. Great kill there, has to be said, but Palooka does trade it up. But Epsilon are going to go 3-2 down against Spirit Gaming, which means Epsilon will finish 6th, regardless of the next map result for Season 2. Last season, they finished 2nd by... I think it was +2 map difference. And this season, just avoiding relegation. Crazy scenes.
Yeah, in the end, if they don't win another game, you know, it could go down. I mean, they obviously have avoided relegation. They can't go down. But it's really, really just down to fine edges. So they could have been relegated. That would have been an absolute disaster for them, obviously. Nobody really knows what's happening with the league after this one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But, I mean, they are going to stay up with just. Yeah. But... you know, don't get me wrong, I'd imagine an Ogres, with the respect and reputation of Epsilon, they'll have a good squad next year.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh, I've just said it again. I do apologize. But I'm just looking at the scoreboard right now. And Dominate, that was probably one of his most impressive performances of the entire land.
In terms of statistics, yes, very much so. I mean, you know, 38 kills to 34 deaths is good. 11 captures, 6 defends. But the real difference here, look at the guy at the top of the SG squad, Tahor. 13 captures, 9 defends, 33-29. Had an absolutely amazing game there. And really, he was the catalyst for the victory for SG.
I wish we would have caught that on stream.
Yeah, I know, I just dropped my pen.
Anyway, so great performance there from Spirit Gaming, not just in that map, but this series overall, apart from the Detroit Uplink, where they were a little bit sloppy, to be honest with you, but headed into the final S&D. Spirit Gaming won the S&D earlier on in the season. This is Epsilon's last chance to get any points in the Pro League, and if Spirit Gaming win this game, then if I'm not mistaken, they will have a chance at finishing in the top 4. Very small chance, but a chance nonetheless, and it just puts them up the table, and at the end of the day, it's an extra W, so they're going to be keen to do that, and obviously there was an interview after Spirit Gaming relegated Hyper Games, I think it was from UFO, saying, yeah, we'd love to beat Epsilon, it would be an amazing result, because even if this team isn't the strongest, Epsilon are still internationally respected, and they do have a little bit of a target on their back.
You've got players on there like Swany and Shane who finished at high positions at international events, at MLGs, etc. So if you're an SG player or an SG fan, it's nice to see them beating players of that caliber. But we're going to find out if they can actually do that in the last map. That's going to be coming in just a second. Yeah. But for me, Epsilon have underperformed.
Well, Solar Search and Destroy up next. Obviously, the first Search and Destroy was Recovery, so no Skyrise, no DLC maps, no potential doubts that a player wasn't comfortable with the new maps, anything like that. So we're sticking close to home. Solar S&D. Do you see Epsilon taking this final map, or do you just think all the momentum was with Spirit Gaming?
It's so up in the air. The momentum is with Spirit, especially after that very strong Hardpoint game that they just did have. And But yeah, last S&D, SG looked really comfortable. Yeah. Can they do it on solo? That's going to be the question. Look at that. It's been a great game backwards and forwards between these two teams. If history says correct, SG should win this.
All right, well, I'm going to ask you a brief question whilst the game is loading up. Last season, Season 1, we saw both Spanish teams go down, and fairly convincingly. This season, do you think Spirit Gaming are leading the revive of that particular scene?
I think it's a lot to do with the league as a whole, and the competition in the league as a whole. Obviously, IGI not really up to scratch this season. Hyper Games letting themselves down as well. I mean, people would have expected them to potentially go down. They've played well, but with the current state of the, I'm not saying it's a bad state at all, but with the current state of play in this league, it doesn't surprise me so much, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be a revamp. I think they're deserved of their spot, and that's about it.
You just think it's Spirit Gaming taking advantage of unfortunate times for the community?
Yeah, well, not necessarily unfortunate time for the, well, there you go, Shane Swany coming in there with the first couple of kills. Not necessarily unfortunate times. I feel it's as if there's a lot more good teams rather than a couple of amazing teams and then bad teams.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's all a bit more of a level playing field. But anyway, a couple of kills going down around both teams, Tahura and Sammy, taking on Shane Swany and Zero.
Yeah, well, arguably the MVP of this series thus far, Tojo, been absolutely insane. To be fair, he's been insane all weekend as well. He's been so impressive. And after getting relegated last year, he's really gone away and not revamped himself, but found a squad which he can really shine in. And you've got to give him such credit. Gumball going down there. Oh, beat Zero there, one-on-one. As you can see, it's now a 2v2. And I'm pretty sure he's just heard someone jump above him in yellow cap. But Sammy's going to try and cover it.
Here. They're in a really good position. And they've made it a 2 versus 1. Shane is the last alive. Shane's just going to check it. Oh, wins the gun battle. And, you know, if you're a Spirit Gaming member there, you're very happy with that because Epsilon had the numbers advantage on the defensive. Should really be winning that one. Had it pretty much locked down. And Tahura being the guy that broke through there, made that kill on the Zero, I do believe it was. That just broke things open for them.
I think Shane got really unlucky there. It was just the fact that, obviously, I think it was Tojo just getting on that head glitch, essentially, on the bomb itself. The fact his movement just gave him an advantage over Shane. Shane was putting body shots in and not headshots, and, you know, it's literally all down to timing. But I'm going to switch to Shane, who did get taken out there. He is currently using a sub, obviously, playing that bomb carrier role. He's actually going to be watching flank. Swany looking in to bottom smoke. Dominate in and around pipe room. Zero. This is a very passive start to this round from Epsilon.
Yeah, this map can either be one extreme or another. You know, it's usually a rush or very passive from both teams. Shot's going to go down towards Yufio. Don't really know why he's peeked back out there. He's on the defending team. Zero's going to make the kill, as is Swany. They should be able to get this one down. I don't think numbers are going to help SG this time round. Sammy is last man alive.
Well, Zero has picked up 2 kills in this round. He's going to pick up the 3rd kill as well. That passive play from Epsilon, I think it may have actually caught Spirit Gaming off guard a little bit. I think they were expecting a little bit more of a manpower rush, if that makes sense. Just try and use their slaying ability, but no. Very passive play enabled Zero to pick off kills from distance, also using AR as well, so showing a little bit of versatility. As you said earlier, sub players love using their ARs when they're allowed to, and looks like Zero is repaying that faith.
It's letting us loose, man. It's letting us loose.
Caged animal.
Exactly. They don't know the talent. On board now with SG as they go on the attack, and it looks like we're going towards A. Trying to just keep my voice down. Don't want to really give anything away.
No, your Twitter will not be.
Oh no, we know what happens. Yeah. We know what happens.
But it looks like the A site is being approached here, and Palooka's just been taken out on UFO. Rather than wait around, he's just going to get the bomb down straight away. We spoke about this earlier on in the season. Do you wait? Oh, not season, earlier on in the day. Do you wait if you've lost first blood, or do you just get it straight down? Yeah. You said get it straight down.
You get it straight down.
I said wait a little bit, but it looks like Spirit Gaming opting to believe in you.
For me, you get the bomb down, you prompt the defensive team to have to do something. If the longer you're waiting, the more chance they're just going to check it. Because it gets later on, they check, and yeah, you can play it out to try and go for kills, but it's much more risky. But they got the bomb down quickly. It is a 2 versus 2 Tahura. It's having such a good series. Shane does take down UFO. Tahura on a 1 versus 2.
Oh, wow, up close and personal with a sub. I always say it's just so difficult to combat, but Shane was using a sub. They got unlucky. Oh my god!
Has he got enough time though? I think he just about made it there, Swany. I think it's going to be very close. Just about, just under a second to go. A very good kill by Swany.
I was literally just saying that up close and personal like that with Tajor in his sub, you're not going to beat him. And Swany just annihilates him with the AR. But I think Shane did put a couple bullets into him, so he's very, very weak.
Didn't you know he used to play for Optic?
Who?
Swany.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. But anyway, come on. It's 2-1 in favour of Epsilon. Better start from them compared to the last S&D. And it looks like they're pushing through mid-map here. I'm not a fan of this strategy at all, but...
It can't wait. It's very, very risky, but if you can punch through the middle of the map there, it gives you great positioning because the guys at B are completely left. Oh, now this is a bit different. Swany pushing around. He's got a little inkling.
Yeah, he's boosting, possibly giving away his position, but I don't think Sammy heard him there. No, it wasn't Sammy, sorry. I think it was Palooka. Tojo in and around mid-map as well. I'm just going to jump on board with Zero. Looks like they've gone for the rotation and now the re-rotation back to B. Also
looks like a really nice play. Oh, no. But SG are now aware of it. But now they've got the guys setting up top at A. Or sitting in A. And he should be able to catch them, come back off. He hasn't been able to spot them. Palooka's going to go in there and he should be able to catch Zero.
Clock timing is unbelievable.
Toho's going to make the first kill. Palooka is going to try and get the kill. And Swany's just going to try and run away. Put some bullets in there. But Dominate really needs to get over towards B.
Yeah, this player's just around yellow cut area. Dominate. If he moves quickly, he would be able to spot someone, but I don't think he's going to. He's going to plant it this side. Wise decision. Can Swany offer some cover here? Over Dominate, who's getting the bomb down. How is Spirit Gaming going to approach this? Are they going to go the same way as a unit, or are they going to challenge things one by one? Looks like they're challenging things one by one and taken out there. Epsilon made that look a lot simpler than it actually was.
Yeah, it was a very confusing round. Everyone was all over the place, really. And in the end, Epsilon are the ones who come off the better. It was so crucial that Dominate won that gun battle against Toho, then made it a 2 versus 1, and then it was never really going to happen for SG. But then you go 3-1 now, taking a decent lead. Can they walk away with it?
Well, that round started off with Epsilon pushing side maps through a yellow cut and then pushing through mid-map and then going through glass cut and actually re-wrapping around towards their own spawn and running down maps again. It was a really weird play, and I think they actually just confused Spirit Gaming because I didn't think they knew where they were going, what they were doing, and I was a little bit hesitant at first, but it seemed to work for them, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but looks like Epsilon made the most of that. But Dominate, currently on a 3 streak here, is on the defending side this time, though, looking down this A street. No one there, though, and it looks like SG is setting up to actually make a B push here, but I'll jump on board with Palooka, the bomb carrier. Risky here, but he's going to back on himself. There we go, it's now 3v2.
2v2, as you say that. Sammy picking up the kill with a PDW. And what are SG going to do? Very decisive. He has to do move over towards A. Bomb being planted.
Yeah, and look at this position from Sammy. Dirty little spot here. Sometimes it is missed because it's so obvious. So, be interesting to see if Sammy gets a kill. It looks like Palooka's going to be running towards glass. The bomb is probably planted glass side, trying to spot it from a distance. But actually, Palooka, I know what they're doing here. Sammy is going to be right on the bomb. If he gets taken out, Palooka is going to have time to sprint down this street. Don't take a shot. Oh, okay, never mind. He actually managed to get the kill. All right, fair play. He's proved me wrong. And now Dominate is not in a great position at all. 1v2. And they're just probably going to play it to time now, and it should be a round to Spirit Gaming.
Yeah, that should surely be the round now. Dominate. Going to go for the defuse, get it checked. As I said, as it gets to 15 seconds, you should never really lose that in that position. Because you can check it at 15, nobody on it at 15, check it again at around 8 or 7, and they wouldn't have had time to defuse it. You can get the kill. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Easy kills.
3-2.
Spirit Gaming, obviously, we're 3-1 down, winning that last round. They are going to need to win back-to-back rounds at some point, in my view. Well, they definitely will if they want to win the game anyway, unless my math is horribly wrong, but I'm going to start on board here with Shane, the bomb carrier. Currently 2-4. Didn't have a great performance in the previous map. See if he can make up for it. He's actually going to be watching flank. Sammy's going to be pushing flank as well. Gun battle coming up right now. Oh, big win there from Shane. Otherwise, Sammy just had an easy 2-piece right in front of him. But as soon as I say that, UFO gets a kill on Dominate. It's now 2v3.
Nades flying in there. UFO with that kill on Dominate. And Toho's going to take out Swany, and Shane goes down as well. So 3-3 now. SG.
Okay, Rob.
Yeah.
to say, that's a very aggressive play from Spirit Gaming. Epsilon in the previous offense round kind of messed Spirit Gaming about a little bit. I think that frustrated them. They're like, do you know what? We're not going to give them that round control. We're going to play aggressively, and we're just going to put some pressure on them, and it seemed to work. It's interesting to see if they do the same again next time they're on defense, but we are now going to jump on board with Palooka, who is dropping a breadstick 1 and 4, and he is being carried at this stage, to say the least.
On board with Palooka, as I said, you know what, he had a really good series, a good game, sorry, on Parliament, but otherwise he's not looked too clever. On board with Sammy though. What can he do here? Aggressive, pushing. Oh, he just about gets the kill onto Swany. Swany just not spotting him in time, and this looks looking like it could potentially be a 3rd round in a row for SG.
They just have these flashes of brilliance, SG, and they just ride the wave of momentum which they build for themselves, and it is really enjoyable to watch. Zero is at the back of his spawn, and it looks like Dominate is pushing through this mid-cut gun back on the Sammy wins it. Zero 1v3. He sent out a tweet yesterday after yesterday's performance saying he really needs to work on his S&D. What a way this would be to step up your S&D game, so to speak. Although saying that, it's not bad at all at the moment. 6 and 5 wins the first gun battle. 1v2. Ton, do you think he can get it?
I think he's got a very hard task on his hands here. When the shots are being fired into him, they're just going to run away. This is so easy for SG now. They just literally need to hold tight. Yeah, it's chasing kills. It's not going to happen for them. Check the bomb. Nobody on the bomb. Game over. No,
wow,
saying
okay.
that, I mean, he made the kill, but he definitely doesn't have time. They just played the time. That is the easiest way to do it when you're on the defensive side. They get away with it. 4-3, 2 points away.
2 rounds away from beating Epsilon EU in both teams' final game of Season 2 of the EU Pro League. Epsilon guaranteed to finish 6th, just outside the relegation zone after finishing 2nd on map difference in Season 1. But can they go out with some pride here? Can they get a draw and get a point to their name? It would, you know, as I said, it would stick with them on 6th, but otherwise they're just going to look like they're 6th by a long way, if that makes sense. They're not going to close the gap between the rest of the table. But gunfights are going down. Shane, first-blooded.
Sammy's done so well in the middle there, picking up 2 kills. Catching members of Epsilon unawares. Palooka gets a kill, and it's cleaned up, and suddenly SG are 1 round away from picking up a win against Epsilon.
And what did I say last time? It'll be interesting to see if they do this again. Not letting Epsilon mess them around, or kind of rotate, re-rotate, rotate again, or just be very, very passive. They are rushing straight in, and it looks like Epsilon just don't have a response at the moment.
No, they don't. At the moment, I mean, that's 4 rounds in a row.
Yep.
From SG, and they are really, as you said, riding that wave of momentum. Let's see what they can do. I think close it out. At this point, that would be very good for them, but still going to be a hard task. Epsilon, a very good squad, as we know.
1 round away from seeing Spirit Gaming, a Spanish side, defeat Epsilon EU. Who would have thought it before this league started?
It's just the way things have transpired, I feel, in the past month or 2. With an influx of players come back from America, teams getting disrupted, and players going over to America. I just don't think there's been many solid rosters.
All looking fragile at the moment.
Yeah, here they are. At the moment, I wouldn't look at the EU scene and say that there was one team that could really, really compete over in America. And I think that shows it when you've got a team with guys like Swany and Chin in it, currently losing games like this. You don't really expect it, and especially when Zero, the new recruit, the one guy that everyone's had question marks over in this Epsilon squad, he's having a good game, but he's in a 1 versus 3 to keep his team in the map. Shots are being fired from Tahuas. He had a fantastic game. He does take him down. He's got another guy challenging him. Is he going to be able to actually do this? 20 seconds to go. He needs to stay alive. That bomb does need to be planted, but that's giving him some extra time. He's going to get shots towards UFO. But for me, SG were pushing a bit too much towards him there, and they've run away. And this is going to be very, very hard for him to pull off now.
Wise decision. Palooka obviously guarding that balcony area. And look at this play from UFO right at the very back. Should spot Zero here. This should be a kill for him. It is going to be a kill for him. And there we have it, folks. Spirit Gaming defeat Epsilon EU 4 maps to 2. Unbelievable result for the Spanish outfit. Promoted from the championship last season after being undefeated, guaranteed their place in this division earlier on today by defeating Hyper Games. Ton What are your thoughts on what we've just seen?
Well, it's a big surprise, you know, albeit we have talked about the state of European Call of Duty in the moment and how things are really up in the air with a lot of the teams. But you wouldn't really expect an Epsilon squad of that caliber to lose to a game like against SG.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was convincing. Every single map that SG won, they won it convincingly. And Epsilon, they did look strong in the maps that they started. I mean, the first map especially, Epsilon looked really, really good, and it was going well for them. Since then, though, wow, SG out of nowhere. Look at that final scoreboard. Tahoe, for me, is the main guy you have to look to and say fantastic play from him. But every single man in the squad did the job. In the end, 5 rounds in a row on that S&D. They were 3-1 down, 5 rounds off the bounce. Not a problem. Win the game. 0. Had a good game. For me, that's something I want to touch on, is that he definitely has impressed me as an Epsilon member. Where he'll end up, who knows? Where any of the squad will end up, who knows? It's hard at this time of year. You know, everyone's sort of, if you like, fizzling out towards the end of the game. Everyone's looking towards the next game. What are we going to do with it? There's only a couple of tournaments left. Nobody really knows what's going on with the state of play. So many different things could change from now to then. Yeah, that it's too hard to predict. But my hat is taken off to SG. Very, very well played on every single map that they won.
No, I agree. And if I've done my maths correctly, this means that Spirit Gaming will go 4th in the league table. Now, I may be wrong, but Infused will be 1 point behind, and which means if Infused lose or don't get the draw, then actually Infused could finish below the Spanish outfit. Wow. If I'm not mistaken, I will get that checked. But, Richard, what did you think of that game?
Well, I think that puts a cat amongst the... No, mate. You've had your moment.
We've had our moments. We're done for the day.
No, I'll tell you what I think. I think it puts a cat among the pigeons, doesn't it? You know, Spirit were the underdogs going into that game, even with all the problems Epsilon have had. And yet they win it 4-2, win the series. And now they must be kicking themselves because they didn't have that awful start of the tournament with a draw against IGI. They could have been right up there.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, we said we criticised Spirit yesterday, and rightfully so. We've criticised them at points during this tournament, and rightfully so. But you know what? Regardless of any criticisms you level at them now, they've still done the work. Yeah. And they have really done the work. It is very impressive to take down a squad of that calibre. And they were very, very hyped. There are still things, obviously, I think they need to improve on here. I'd quite like to see them against all the other teams in the tournament here. I mean, all we've seen them against here is 3 of the teams that are at the bottom of the league, and I would probably put towards that area, Epsilon being the biggest scalp they've taken. But yeah, fair play to Spirit Gaming. They've done a lot of work. They tightened up a lot of things, I actually thought, in that last game. And yeah, good enough.
And for Epsilon, I mean, for the likes of Swany and Shane, I'm guessing some sort of career low point. Are they having some sort of crisis of confidence at the moment?
It's just it's a case of the roles, really. Like, Shane is apparently supposed to be Slayer for that team at the moment.
I think he actually had a good series, to be honest.
Well, admittedly, for, up until that Biolab Hardpoint, which I expected them to walk away with, he was 4-13 going into the second to last Hardpoint in in that map in the first rotation. He ended up 22-38 overall. If your main Slayer is only getting 22 kills and dying 38 times, you're not going to win the game. There's no chance in it. And the rest of them had a really decent game as well. Dominate really picked it up in that one as well, and we've had some things to say about him.
We're coming straight back to the point that we've actually made before, is that there is no general weakness from any of the player. There's no player letting the side down. There's nothing, but it's just not good enough. There's the sum of the parts is actually not great. It's just kind of okay. It's not good enough at this level, and for me that means roster change. If nobody's underperforming still, and you've got something, it's either chemistry, which maybe they have, or maybe it's experience. They haven't been playing together as long as they would like. Had a shaky start. Maybe they've figured out what they need to work on, and they can actually get back into it. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, it is one of those things. But we've got the interview now, so we'll come back to the problems of Epsilon in just a moment. We're now going to go over to Josh, who's with the Victoria Spirit Gaming, kicking on at the table. And they must be happy, Josh. Let's hear what they've got to say.
Cheers, guys. We've got 2 to the party this time, UFO and now Tojar. Guys, imagine where you'd be had you played better at the start of the season.
Can you repeat, please?
Obviously, you guys have, you've done well this weekend, unanticipated results. Had you played better at the start of the season, you could be even much higher.
Well, I think we played really good this weekend. At the beginning of the season, as you said, was a little bit weird because in Spain we have a lot of people traveling in vacations and that stuff, and we couldn't scream really much, but we finally get into the event and made like everyone wrong.
Tojo, if you guys, well, if Infuse lose to Vitality, you'll end up in 4th place. Obviously within the money, but more importantly, you obviously defied some expectations. How important is that for you and the team?
Well, it's very important for us, just because getting 4th place in such a league like a Pro League for us is amazing. It's just the best league in Europe. But I think we are not enjoying that much. We are just trying to perform better and better. When we start the league, we were like, okay, we just have to end in the league and stay in the league, not go to the Championship one. And then we were playing, we won Vitality, they had some problems, we tied Infused, and we were looking better than at the beginning. And then we came here, we had a very bad day against Igi, we tied 3-3, we expected them to win. But then today I think we showed that we have a better, we have potential to do it better, yeah.
So what does the rest of the season hold for you guys, the rest of the Advanced Warfare season?
We need to play in October an Spanish championship, and that is going to be the last tournament in Spain, and we don't have to play Pro League till December, so this tournament is going to be the last we are going to play in Advanced Warfare.
Cool. And just finally, Tojo, can you share some thoughts on what you think about the league format and how it could be improved upon, or maybe otherwise not?
Well, I think it should be like 10 teams instead of 8, because right now you have 8 teams and 2 are going down. That's too much, because it's like 25% of the league that's going to down. In my opinion, it should be like 10 teams, 2 down, because right now, today, for example, we wake up thinking about to not stay down of the league. We were playing against Hyper Games to stay in the league, but then we win 2 matches and we are close to the top teams. It's like a very small league. In my opinion, it should be a bit bigger. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, guys, congratulations on a pretty impressive weekend, and all the best in the future. Back to you guys. Cheers.
Forgot about the mic there. You need to keep that in your mouth. That's how it works. Science. Stay in school, kids.
Somebody's just made a gif of that, what you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Call of Duty, eh?
Call of Duty, I think Counter-Strike are going to be jumping all over that.
Mature fans.
Yeah,
oh, not like my game.
Oh, yeah. I've seen your Twitter feed.
Wow.
I've seen your Twitter feed. You don't need to say anymore.
Let's keep that can of worms closed.
It's all right, mate. Anyway, look, let's briefly talk about Epsilon, because I do want to talk about where they go from here. You know, we're kind of intimating there's going to be some roster changes. You know, maybe Dominate's going to go to Gears of War or whatever.
It's a big question, right? Because we're sitting here and we're trying to guess what's going on in the mind of the 4 players sat over there. And unfortunately, at the moment, I haven't had a chance to speak to them. And there have been rumors about Swany going back to America, and no one's entirely sure. You know, if he does that, what does Shane do? Does he stay in Epsilon? In my opinion, most likely. I don't think Shane is going to go anywhere very fast unless he gets a great offer. Zero, obviously, for me, has performed good enough that he will be considered a serious prospect for any squad. I don't think you can really put any blame on this weekend on him. Like I said, you couldn't really do it on any of the players. Tactics and strategies-wise, something's wrong. So if that's a roster change, or if they might be confident enough to sit there and go, you know what, we know what we did wrong. We didn't have enough practice doing it. You know, there's some DLC maps in here we just haven't even touched. We had a bad start to the season as well. We're not all worried about this. This is not worried about here. We can kind of chill out with it.
Chris?
It's a funny period for a lot of teams at the moment, because if you've not got anything to work, we're basically a couple of months away from the brand new game. Everyone's playing the beta right now and getting to grips with it. A lot of people have had good stuff to say about it, and they're excited for it. A lot of people speculating teams already for it. So it's a case of, do you stick or twist? Do you actually stick with what you've got, just play out the rest of the season?
Do you get ready for the next game?
Do you start getting ready for the next game? Do you start picking up the team or that you would expect to work on that? Do you stick with what you've got? Some teams are looking at Worlds already. Are they going to be practicing, still focusing on Worlds? We've got a couple of amateur tournaments coming up as well, that maybe they're going to practice on that and keep going with the team they've got. It's all up in the air, and only the players will really know. I think right now, for a team like that...
I can guarantee there's a roster change after the event, because about 4 teams have already told me they're doing it. Of course, what that does, more importantly, it's not the actual rosters you've got to look at that are changing, it's who drops into that free agency market and spurns more changes. So, you know, that's why it's called Rostermania, right? A team makes a change, and all of a sudden, a hot prospect that's probably better than the guy you might not be 100% happy with is in the market. You'll be going, maybe this guy will solve all our problems, or I've wanted a team with him for a long time. Can we get him? Will he play with us? Maybe we need a swap. Maybe somebody else just leaves to go form another squad. You know, it can all of a sudden just teams get ripped apart by forces that are sometimes completely out of their control.
Yeah, team changes for me at the moment are going to be changed for one of two reasons: for Worlds or for the next game. It's not going to be anything. It's not going to be, you know, like we need a better team for this tournament coming up. It's either Worlds around the corner. We're very nervous about the team we've got. We need to make changes to make sure we have our best opportunity. And there will be some thoughts in the back of their mind. Maybe we're thinking about teaming on Black Ops 3. It depends how it goes. They're going to be two very different games. So I wouldn't be surprised that after Worlds, we see even more changes. And there's going to be more team changes suiting that game.
As soon as that hits, there will be another Rostermania in terms of the next game. So it's for the next 2 months in Europe at the very least, and I suspect the same in America as well. It's going to be quite turbulent. There's only going to be a few teams that won't change.
And of course, with Epsilon not having those world points as well, probably is the.
From what I understand, there are some points. I actually got updated from Tommy. He was talking to me about the way it currently works, because you kind of reset when you go across the pond, right? From what I understand is I think some of the players you can reject points from a region.
Right.
And that allows you to keep points in another region. So, for instance, if you were in Europe and you went to compete in North America, if you rejected the North American points, you could keep your Europe points, but you wouldn't actually gain any while you were out there. So that's how, you know, that's apparently how it can done. Like, if you keep going back and forth without rejecting points, then you just keep losing each time you go across. But apparently you can reject. So.
All right. Well, we'll try and dig up and get an update on what's going on there and what that might mean for Epsilon a little bit later. But for now, guys, it's that time where we're going to take a break. It's only going to be a quick one, so we need to rattle through these games. We're getting into the very last fixtures in the league. Next up, we're going to have Infused versus Team Vitality, one of the more interesting matches of the day. So tell your mum to stick your Sunday dinner in the fridge and come back in 5 minutes and watch this. We'll see you then.